right, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome. I'd like to call to order this meeting of the San Jose City Council for the afternoon of April 29th. Tony, would you please call the roll?
Kamei? Here. Campos? Here. Salas? Here. Cohen? Here. Ortiz?
Present.
Mulcahy?
Here.
Dwan?
Here.
Candelas?
Here.
Casey?
Here.
Foley? Here. Mahan?
Here.
You have a quorum.
Thank you. Now, if you're able, please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Today's invocation will be provided by Tito Cortez, founder and volunteer executive director of the Veterans Supportive Services Agency. Councilmember Cohen will now tell us more.
Hi, today we have Tito Cortez. As the mayor mentioned, he's the founder and executive director for the Veterans Supportive Services Agency. Tito is an alumni of San Jose State University, and he served in the U.S. Army during the Vietnam War. As a disabled vet, he founded VSSA in 2011, a nonprofit charitable organization dedicated to advocacy and providing life-enhancing supportive services that allow veterans and their families to be self-sufficient so they can live with independence and dignity. VSSA helps injured veterans apply for service-connected disability compensation or to assist them in filing for benefits to which they qualify. VSSA also helps injured veterans who already filed their claims or whose claims were denied. VSSA is housed in District 4 in the Noble House, a surplus San Jose-owned community center on Noble Avenue in Berryessa. Welcome, Tito.
First of all, I'd like to recognize a brother of mine, a Vietnam War disabled veteran, Richard, who served in Quang Tri provinces in 1969. Welcome, Richard. In 1967, I volunteered to serve our country and spent 18 months in Vietnam. I am one of the many soldiers who were sent to war, but were not welcome in coming home. Tomorrow is the 50th anniversary of the fall of Saigon, the end of the war. Many of our brothers and sisters lost the country, but gained a new one, and they enrich our society today. This fiscal year, our agency finally helped two totally disabled Vietnam Americans veterans. One served in Iraq, the other one in Gulf War, during the Gulf War. We've been in our center for 14 years, and we'd like to thank our city, the ladies and gentlemen behind me, although they are a little bit younger, and PRNS for letting us stay. And thank you, Councilman David Cohen. That's the reason for being here today. And Noble House Community Center with VSSA remains the only center in San Jose providing bona fide free services to honorably discharge disabled veteran. As a U.S. Army Vietnam War disabled veteran, I'm going to share with you a prayer I wrote for peace to all of us, especially to the veterans who serve and the veterans currently serving in hostile territory. Let us pray. Oh Lord, we pray for the veterans who serve our country, who lay down their lives to protect and defend our freedom. Without them, Lord, we would not be enjoying our liberty and freedom today, freedom that many can only envy. Lord, there are many of us like Richard who are still suffering from the lifetime scars of serving. Help us heal our mental health issues, our post-traumatic disorder, our broken hearts, our broken souls, and our broken spirit. And Lord, please protect our future veterans who are serving in hostile territories. Bring them home safely to their families and loved ones. We also pray for our public officials, like the people behind me, to give them the courage to do what is right and not to contribute in eradicating services for those of us who are poor and have no place to stay. Lord, we pray that you will continue to give us the courage to help those who are in need and to make room for those who come to us for safety. And finally, Lord, we pray and look forward to the day when there is no longer any war. To this end, Lord, grant us peace, an everlasting peace, for in the name of our veterans who serve and are still serving our country, we pray, O Lord. Amen.
Thank you for that invocation and your service. We're on to ceremonial items. Councilor Casey, if you would join me at the podium, we will recognize and proclaim April 29th as Raymond Townsend Day.
Yeah, please. We're going to have a young man that has had the opportunity to learn from Raymond Townsend. Evan Lee is going to start us off.
Hi, everyone. Again, my name is Evan Lee. My dad is Kevin Lee. He works for the city of San Jose here. It is my honor today to recognize the achievements and contributions of Raymond Townsend, a local legend. Raymond was born and raised right here in San Jose and played basketball for Camden High, where he averaged close to 28 points a game, and at Archbishop Mitty. He went on to play at UCLA, where he was a member of the 1975 UCLA National Basketball Championship team and earned first team All-Pac-8 honors as a senior. He was selected 22nd overall pick of the 1978 NBA draft by the Golden State Warriors, becoming the first Filipino-American to play in the NBA. He concluded his career with the Indiana Pacers in 1982, and later played in 1984 FIBA Intercontinental Cup with Banco Roma in Italy. Throughout his career, Raymond has mentored countless young people to become not just better athletes, but better humans overall. He has instilled the values his family taught him: perseverance, leadership, and community. From his strong basketball legend father, Raymond Townsend Sr., and his incredible mother, a strong Filipino woman, Virginia Marea.
At City Hall, we commend incredible people like Raymond, and we give proclamations to raise awareness about significant topics in our city. When we were considering how to honor Raymond, we reflected on the scope and breadth of his achievements and his contributions. Raymond's legacy stands for the values much greater than he alone. And that is why we decided to proclaim today as Raymond Townsend Day. For you, Raymond, for all the people in this room and beyond who have been impacted by you and your example. Thank you, Raymond, for the example you've set. I'm honored now to present you, along with the mayor, a proclamation proclaiming April 29th, 2025 as Raymond Townsend Day in the city of San Jose, as well as to present you a jersey from the Golden State Warriors.
On behalf of the council, signed by every member of the San Jose City Council.
Yeah, if we can invite our council members and colleagues if they want to come down as well.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Congratulations on your accomplishment. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you. They told me I could say a few things. I don't know my time limit, but Filipinos are always late, so I'll probably go a little bit over. First of all, what a great honor. You know, when I first heard about this, I actually said, no, don't do this. I'm not that guy. I like working behind the scenes in the shadows. I like seeing everybody else uplifted. And so this has been truly a heartfelt and grateful moment. I want to thank Mayor Matt Mann. Thank you so much, all City Council. Thank you so much, all my family, the Kababayans that came in from Stockton, LA, from all over, my Filipino family. Want to thank all my friends of players, some of my players. So many people to thank, and I'm so grateful. Want to definitely thank my two daughters, are my greatest accomplishments. I mean, I've had a lot, but nothing greater than Christiar and Rochelle. Stand up, stand up. These are my greatest accomplishments in my life right here. I'd like to thank my partner, Leslie, for coming down from Santa Barbara to be here. I know we're going on 10 years, and I know I'm almost 70. It's what you got to get. This is all that comes, you know, ain't nothing else. I do want to say something, though, that's more important than the accolades, than my professional career. People don't know I played baseball at UCLA. I got drafted by the Reds. I hit .394. Had a choice between playing with the Reds or the Warriors. Warriors obviously gave me retirement after 3 years, so I took the Warriors. But it wasn't even about that. It was really the journey God took me on. And it was right after I retired, I was a school teacher. People don't know this. I went to the Alum Rock School District, met with the principal. He said, Raymond, we'd like to take you on a journey. We only have 10% of our students suiting up. And I started to do the math. I said, 10%. What are the other 90 doing? 13 gangs. You know, and I thank Jesus. Jesus is my Lord and Savior, and I'll go wherever he leads me, because in those trenches is where he serves. 13 gang members, or 13 gangs in that school. 3 years, we had a 90% suit-up rate. I had 8 student kids, gang members working together to build a good program. Those are the journeys that God has taken me on. And after Alum Rock, started a special needs school called Pinnacle Academy for all the children who were expelled from continuation schools. Nobody believed in them. They were one step away from death or jail. Rochelle actually became one of my counselors. Rochelle was pre-law until she started working with children, and now she's one of the leading consultants and directors for a multi-million-dollar grant working with at-risk children, saving many lives. These are the journeys that I want to be known for. I mean, grateful for this journey, but it's been the journey after of serving over 100,000 families in the San Jose community. That's what I want people to understand about who Jesus is and who you need to step out when he calls your name and the mountain looks too big. The RT Basketball League started with 65 children. At the end, when I retired with it, it was about 2012. I mean, we had reached already 38,000 families. It's those kind of moments when God tells us to move that we need to move, because he's got bigger lives around you that need your word, your look, your touch, your presence. And in that moment, he will move mountains. I know. And I want to end off with saying, I can't say too much about this project, but we're going to do something greater for the San Jose community. I've been looking at joining a group to build one of the premier basketball facilities, training to bring AAU. We have hundreds of thousands of San Jose families. It's a $45 billion industry. We have San Jose families that are paying all this money to go because their kids have dreams. Well, it's about time, as one of the largest cities in the United States, that we start bringing all the talent to San Jose. And we have our parents save their money, go home instead of sleeping in a hotel, go home and sleep at home and play against the best kids in the nation. So that'll be upcoming. I'm not going to say much about it until it's up and running, but I'm grateful for the city's support. Mayor, you were hands down, very instrumental in this decision. So I'd like to finish on one note. I know Coach Wooden came up with all kinds of Woodenisms. Be patient, great things take time, make every day your masterpiece. Success is the direct result of a peace of mind, of self-satisfaction, becoming the best player you're capable of becoming. I can go on forever because this man made a huge impact in my life. But I want to finish by saying one thing that I've tried to pride myself, not just about serving God and serving people, but there's a poet named Ralph Waldo Emerson, and he wrote something, and it goes like this. He said, "To laugh often and much, to earn the respect of intelligent people and the affection of children, to earn the appreciation of your honest critics and the betrayals of your false friends, enduring the betrayals of your false friends, to appreciate beauty, to looking at the best in others, to live in this world to make it a little bit better, whether it's by a healthy child, a garden patch, or even a redeemed social condition, to make this world a better place, to know that you have lived and made one person breathe easier, then you know you have truly succeeded." Thank you all. Thank you very much. Thank you all. God bless. Thank you.
Councilmember Dwan, if you would join me here at the podium, we will now recognize and proclaim Black April.
Thank you, everyone, for being here. I just want to tell you a story. 50 years ago, thousands and thousands of families left the country on boat that is 20 feet long by 7 feet wide. Think of 40 or 60 people, barely any room to stand, crossing the ocean with the water 2 inches from drowning the boat. They run across many pirates who does many atrocity is unthinkable to speak of. They run into the North Vietnamese who tow their boat back to the country. And yet, they continue to escape. They continue with the courage, the resilience, and the extraordinary determination to reach freedom. Yet, they come across some countries and they bound into encampments, refugee encampment for years, with unknown for their future, for their family. But yet, it never waver their determination to reach for freedom. Today, my office proclaimed the month of April as Black April. Black April marked the fall of Saigon, April 30th, 1975. It has a special resonance for us here in San Jose. 50 years we've been here. 50 years we commemorate the loss of our country to communism. Black April hold particular significance for the vibrant Vietnamese community that has made San Jose its home. It is a day to honor the experience, the sacrifice, and triumph of our fellow community members who lived throughout the tumultuous events surrounding the end of Vietnam War. Today, we remember the story of those who sought refuge and a new beginning. This city became a sanctuary for many. This country became a refuge for over 2.5 million Vietnamese. A place where individual and family rebuild their lives, preserving our culture, contributing to the rich tapestry of our community. The legacy of Black April in the resilience of the Vietnamese diaspora to San Jose. It is a testament to the strength of those who face uncertainty, leaving behind their homeland in the promise for a better future. Today, we pay tribute to the journey, to the sacrifice, and their unwavering spirit. Black April is not just a historical event. It is a part of our shared identity. It reminds us of the importance of unity, understanding, compassion. It serves as a call to embrace the diversity that enriches our city, and to stand together, honoring the strength that emerged from overcoming difficulty and challenges. Let us honor the resilience of our community, express gratitude for the contributions made, and reaffirm our commitment to fostering a city where everyone can thrive, regardless of their background. I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart. I am grateful to be an Asian American, an honor to live here in the United States, and I'm proud to be a Vietnamese. Thank you. At this point, I would like to introduce Mr. Phuc Lê to make a few statements. Thank you.
Honorable Mayor Matsman, on City Council members, city elected officials, and city staff, and ladies and gentlemen. My name is Phuc Lê. I was Vietnamese Navy officer in 1975. Ladies and gentlemen, April 30th, 1975 is the most memorable day in the Vietnamese history. A day of mourning for the people of the Republic of Vietnam. A day that marked the beginning of misery thrown upon to the people of the South Vietnam. From the current generation to another. And that day, we lost everything. We lost the regime, we lost the family, we lost loved ones, we lost all the assets we built up throughout our lives. And there, we lost our homelands, living in exile in foreign lands or being tormented in our own homelands. And now, even though 50 years have passed, we still carry the wounds of that day, as if happened yesterday. Even though 50 years have passed, we continue to fight and closely follow the day's developments in Vietnam. Every year, on April 30th, we hold the memory service to remind each other of the misfortunes of the past and to pray for the better, brighter, and freer Vietnam, with a life worth living as a human being. For this year, in particular, Mayor Matt Mahan, along with the city council members and city staff, have paid attention to our Vietnamese community, recognizing and declaring this day of mourning, the Black April. I would like to take this opportunity on behalf of the overseas community to thank the mayor and all the councillors and the staff of the city. And I wish you had good health and continued success in the careers. Thank you for listening.
I ask that our council member come on down and stand with the Vietnamese community in commemoration of April 30th. Thank you.
Let's take a photo here. All right, Vice Mayor Foley, now last but not least, we will recognize and proclaim May as Older Americans Month.
Thank you. As an older American, I feel like I'm entitled to make this proclamation. I'd like to, that's true. Older in the body, young in the heart. I'd like to invite the Senior Commission to come down. Today, I'm here to proclaim May as Older American Month in the city of San Jose. Okay, May's also a special month, and I can't pass this up by saying May is the best month of the year because May Day is my birthday. You know, I got a microphone, I just had to say that. First established in 1963, Older Americans Month is celebrated each year to recognize older Americans' contributions, highlight aging trends, and reaffirm our commitment to serving our vital and increasing community of older adults. This year's theme, Flip the Script on Aging, challenges us to transform the way we think about aging in an effort to shift perspectives, break stereotypes, and celebrate the vibrancy and resiliency of older adults. It reminds us that challenging the narrative is about more than just rejecting outdated assumptions such as being technologically illiterate, physically inactive and frail, no longer contributing to economy and or our community. I could tell you I know a lot of older adults who are close to 100 who are the most vibrant, active people you will ever see, so never underestimate. This month is about celebrating the active, engaged lives older adults are living every day. Older adults are not stepping back. They're stepping up by volunteering at libraries, leading community meetings, and participating in citywide wellness and recreation programs. You'll find them everywhere you look. We see them walking our trails and playing pickleball at community centers and parks. They're organizing neighborhood cleanups, serving on nonprofit boards, and gaining new skills through our digital literacy program. Their presence strengthens our neighborhoods, enriches our city, and reminds us that every stage of life holds value, purpose, and potential. Flipping the script means building a city where growing older is seen as an asset, not a barrier. It means continuing to design policies, programs, and public spaces that reflect the real lives and needs of older adults, not outdated stereotypes. And it means recognizing that when older adults thrive, we all benefit. San Jose is home to a growing population of older adults who enrich our community with their diverse experiences, talents, and ongoing contributions to civic, cultural, and economic life. Today, the City of San Jose proudly reaffirms our commitment to ensuring that older adults have access to the resources, support, and opportunities they need to thrive and live meaningful lives. As a city, we must also continue our commitment to providing affordable housing that enables residents to age with dignity and independence in the communities they helped build. Additionally, as we improve San Jose's streets and public spaces, we must ensure they are safe, accessible, and age-friendly for all of our residents. Our entire city thrives when people of all ages, abilities, and backgrounds can actively participate and engage in their community. I serve as the council liaison to the Senior Citizens Commission. Really ought to change that name, you know that? Joining us today are commissioners from our Senior Citizens Commission and staff from our citywide Older Adults Program and Recreation Division. To accept today's proclamation, I'd like to welcome Gina Gates Lopez, the chair of our Senior Citizens Commission. San Jose's Senior Citizens Commission plays a vital role in advocating for older adults, advising the City Council on issues affecting our aging residents, and helping ensure that San Jose remains a city where people can age with dignity and purpose. I'd like to invite Gina forward to say a few words before Mayor Mahan presents the proclamation. Gina.
I could end that with ditto. My name is Gina Gates Lopez, and I have the pleasure for serving the Senior Commission as a Senior Commission Chair. We've got some great community leaders there. I'd like to point out the previous two people that were here where there were commendations. I think there were like over 60, because that's what we do. That is what the community is about. We are robust. We are the population where we drank out of rubber hoses out in the yard, and that was fine. We survived, and that's who we are. It's awesome to be in this committee. So in '63, this is when the Older Americans Month started. Then there were 17 million Americans. Now there are over 40 million Americans, and we are an aging community. The theme, as the council member said, is flip the script. We on the commission are working on flipping the script. We are currently working on setting up our narrative on the issue of housing. And you all hear about how difficult housing is, but we have some great staffers. And Janine, where is she? Janine, we couldn't do the work without Janine, without our superintendent, without staff. But I think Janine is really getting impacted as she is doing more research on this. It's very difficult, as you know, when you're a senior and your income is at a particular level and looking at costs in San Jose. So I don't know how we're going to do it, but we are looking into it. What I do want to say is I would love to invite you. I am inviting you, seniors. Pay attention to what we are doing. We are making budget proposals and we're submitting it to the city for approval, and that's your voice. But if we don't hear from you, it's only the voices that do come forward. We're not, I mean, you can depend on us, but the best way is to be engaged. We meet on Thursdays monthly, and so you are welcome to attend there. And I agree with the the council member, senior, older, in Spanish, Latinos, we will refer to seniors like gigantes, meaning giants. And I always loved that. Although I wasn't a giant before, that's when my nana was around. But you know what? We need to refer to our seniors with respect. And I think, maybe we need to kick that word around, gigante, as far as the senior commission. Maybe we're the gigante commission. With that, also I'd like to make note that there are 14 citywide older adult programs, and that is a place to engage as well. So those are all over the city. Please pay attention to that and go check it out. It's a lot of fun, and we need to be able to do something that's pretty easy. When we see people, seniors or whomever, let's look them in the eye and say hi. Let's start with kindness. Okay, thank you again, and please support your senior commission.
want one of those jerseys.
Oh, I'll see what we can do.
Thank you. Let's get a picture.
Get a photo together. All right, thank you all very much. We're going to continue on with our agenda here. We are on to orders of the day. Does anyone on the council have any changes to the printed agenda? Not aware of any, not seeing any hands. Tony, assume we don't have any comments. Okay, we're on to the closed session report. Nora?
Thank you, Mayor. We do not have a report out of closed session today.
Okay, thank you very much. Moving right along. Next is the consent calendar. Are there any items members of the council would like to pull? And I'll be pulling very briefly 2.13 for just a brief comment. Any other requests? Not seeing any? Okay, so 2.13 is the grant application for funding to pilot the local implementation of CalAIM reimbursements in our interim housing portfolio. I want to thank Eric Sullivan and the team in the housing department for partnering to work quickly and thoughtfully to prepare this grant application. This is the result of a close collaboration between the housing department and the Partnership for the Bay's Future Fellow, Molly Crone, working with the city for the next 2 years. It's part of a $1.8 billion initiative by the state to prepare organizations to utilize CalAIM funding, which are more flexible health funds that can be reimbursed. CalAIM is a Medi-Cal program designed to use community support and enhanced care management to stabilize folks in housing and improve health outcomes. It's been on the radar of our council for some time now. This application marks the city's first formal action to integrate the Medi-Cal service and reimbursement model into our homeless service delivery model, which I think is exciting. We're looking at innovative approaches, accessing new resources to bring down our operating costs at the city level and therefore be able to help more people. If awarded, it would provide critical resources to support staffing and technology development for a CalAIM hub, where the city works in partnership with contracted service providers and the managed care plans operating in Santa Clara County to deliver reimbursable services ranging from housing location assistance to health screenings. The project proposal will pilot CalAIM and our outreach programs in 3 emergency interim housing sites. The action of the council does not commit the city to anything at this stage, but if awarded, staff would return to council with a more detailed implementation plan, including staffing and other program-related requirements. So I'm really excited about this innovative approach and the collaboration represented by this grant application. Again, I want to thank Eric and the team for partnering on this and the staff's great work to bring much needed resources and enhanced services to our most vulnerable neighbors. So thank you again to the Housing Department. With that, we'd be happy to entertain a motion on the consent calendar as a whole.
Move approval of the consent calendar.
Great. Do we have any comment? No. Coming back to the council, I'm not seeing any hands. Tony, let's vote.
Motion passes unanimously with Dwan absent.
Okay, thank you very much. We're on to land use consent. This is item 10.1A. We have a motion, questions or comments? Great. Tony?
Yes, I have 6 cards, so I'm going to go ahead and call all 6 names.
Okay.
You do not have to speak in the order you're called. So first person who makes it down, you just go straight to the mic, and then the other people can sit in the first row that says reserved. I have Ume. I can't read the handwriting on the last name. It starts with S. Rajka Kalik, Christine Ballard, Emily Ann Ramos, Mr. Carpenter, and Margaret Kukuza. Again, come on down in no particular order.
So first down, feel free to just begin speaking. You'll have 2 minutes. Welcome.
I'll make this quick. Good afternoon, Mr. Mayor, Madam Vice Mayor, and council members. My name is Emily Ann Ramos, and I'm speaking today on behalf of SV at Home. Let me begin by saying we commend city staff for bringing forth this comprehensive package of zoning changes to align San Jose's zoning ordinance with the general plan in compliance with state law. This is a critical step to ensure that zoning no longer acts as a barrier to producing the housing our community so urgently needs. We appreciate the dedication and the diligence of the planning department in completing this complex multi-year effort. Updating the zoning for over 900 parcels is no small feat, and this work reflects a thoughtful citywide approach to aligning land use regulations with long-term planning goals. By ensuring consistency between zoning and general plan designations, this item will streamline the development process and unlock opportunities for housing, particularly in key areas designated for mixed use and residential growth. Importantly, the analysis confirms that this rezoning will result in a net increase in residential capacity up to 21,000 units, which not only complies with SB 330, but actively supports the city's housing goals. We encourage the council to adopt the staff recommendations and continue advancing policies and practices that remove barriers to housing production while promoting equitable and sustainable development throughout San Jose. Thank you for your leadership and commitment to addressing the region's regional housing crisis. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker.
So good afternoon. My name is Rajka Čolić. I live on 1311 Glen Erie Avenue in San Jose. I'm here to oppose the rezoning of our property to the open space, which is basically coming to our backyard. And my understanding is from the maps that I'm seeing, the open space zoning, it's literally touching the walls of our bedroom. So I need everybody to understand that this is not a cookie cutter, that people need to see how close the homes on the Glen Erie Avenue are close to the Los Gatos Creek, and we cannot just go down there and say, okay, this is the map, this is how much space is going to be rezoned into open space. Also, there is another issue that I'm very concerned that we had also in the past. We had a homeless population coming and walking through our backyards already. So what's gonna be if we have an open space, who is going to control and provide the safety for us and, for the general public if already people are having the free access down there. Another issue that I'm very concerned is the open space zoning going to be down the road in the future incorporated into any proposed, I don't know, trails development or the picnic areas or, I don't know, any open space network that's going to bring people from Lincoln, connecting them to the other street on the top. So, but I am also, another issue for me is what's going to happen in the future if we decide to redevelop our property. What kind of restrictions?
Thank you. That's your time. Next speaker.
My name is Margaret Kukuza. I live at 1309 Glen Erie Avenue. I have lived there for 40 years. I'm going to ask all of you here to put on your imagination caps. The back of our house between Meridian and Lincoln is a small glen with a small bit of Los Gatos Creek in it. There is no flat land except for the bed of the creek. The sides of the creek on both sides go up 90 degrees. In order to get there, you have to slide down or get a catapult. The reason I'm speaking is because whoever drew the lines, I'd like you to imagine the rezoning line goes like this until it gets to one house east of us, in which case it makes a 90-degree turn and now goes through completely through half of our property. It goes through my bedroom. I think that this little 90-degree jog was not thought out properly, and I would like to have this section of the open space. What kind of open space is going to be in my bedroom? What is it doing to my $2 million house that I only have half the property? And there's no access at all except through our properties. So this little section I would like to have delayed so we can have more input and more say on why they made a 90-degree jog instead of following the creek like the rest of Glen Erie Street. Why this 90-degree jog that takes away my bedroom? And I hate to be this kind of mean.
Thank you. That's your time. Next speaker. I'm sorry, ma'am, your time is up.
Hi, my name is Uma Subramanian. I live on Glen Erie, and shout out to Lindsay Gelman of the Planning Department. I did not expect, in all honesty, a response to my email, but I got one within 24 hours. So thank you for that. Second one, shout out to Margaret here. She was in the emergency room in the hospital 2 days ago. She was completely incapacitated. And that's the reason why I took the day off to be here on her behalf. However, she decided that the only way to make sure that her voice was heard was to be here. So now you understand how critical this problem is, because the creek is really small and you really can't do anything normal with it. So declaring a part as open space is kind of immaterial at this point, in my opinion. So just something we need to have a discussion over before we kind of blindly decide we want to rezone it. So that's pretty much all I wanted to say, honestly. Thanks, Margaret, for making my job easier.
Hello, my name is Christine Ballard. I live at 1808 Creek Drive. I just want to say that my family moved to San Jose in the 1860s, and my great-great-grandfather's farm, orchard, was at the corner of Bird and Minnesota, and you can see that on the plots. My great-great-grandparents are buried here. My great-great-grandparents are buried here. My grandfather was born here, so we've been in San Jose a long time, and now I find the city confiscating half of my $2 million home without compensation, without any regard to the fact that it's not a buildable lot back there, it's just the creek bed. And it provides an amazing amount of privacy. I live in the middle, there's 10 miles of urban sprawl in every direction, and I have no window treatments on the back of my house because it's that private. And what I fear, and what I think is actually the city's long-term plan, is that you're planning on tearing down our houses by making it impossible to maintain them through a permitting process. And the long-term goal is to fill up the creek with apartments. And to the point earlier about, people down in the creek, that's true. I mean, I've had homeless people down there. I've had somebody come through and break into my house through the creek. I have people fishing in my backyard. So if you want to call it open space, it's already open. I don't understand what the rezoning is actually going to accomplish about calling a creek, which is not buildable, open. It makes no sense to me. And this letter that kind of packages as, oh, we're saving you money, is actually taking half of my lot and probably taking $1 million off the value. And I don't think that's okay. The uncompensated loss is wrong. And honestly, what I think Your
time is up. Next speaker.
Good afternoon. My name is Mr. Carpenter. I also live on Glen Erie Avenue. I would pretty much like to just reiterate most of what they've said. The steepness of the creek, however, is at most 80 to 85. Certain areas it's 65. If you go down farther, it is less. But the area in which you wish to approach and take from their property is quite steep. You will have to reinforce that if you ever were to consider putting some pathway there, and it would be very, very costly. You've already looked into it. It's even just for my property section, it would be $300,000 to $500,000 to reinforce it. Helical coil is what is necessary to give the proper structure to the area. Other than that, that's pretty much everything. I would prefer not to have pathways for the homeless and other people to come through. And I will just say, go Cougars. I went to school with Ray Townsend, his sister, Michelle, and Therese. So have a good day.
Thank you. Next speaker. I also received another card with no name on it. So that person, please come on down and take a seat in the front row.
Hello, good afternoon. My name is Pablo and Mendoza. I live on 1116 Kerner Avenue. I got a notice that this particular land is going to be moved from commercial to residential. I purchased this place about 25 plus years ago, and I've been running my business since then. I feel that if it were to be changed to a residential property, there are some features that I'll be basically losing. I'll be downgrading down, I believe. And I wish that I could just remain as it is, commercial. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker.
Do we have any additional speakers? Anyone else wish to speak? Only folks who have not spoken yet, I'm sorry. We're only able to give each person 2 minutes. Sorry, you can leave materials with the clerk and we can distribute them to the council. I am going to ask city staff to engage if we're done with public comment. Tony, I'm not seeing anyone else who has not spoken yet coming down. Chris Burton, if you could come down, I want to ask the director of our planning department to come down. We'll have some dialogue amongst the council, and if you have materials, you can leave them with the clerk and they'll be distributed. So Chris, director of our planning, building, and code enforcement department, can maybe share a little. I'll just kick us off, and then I see Councilor Mulcahy, who's also represents the district where you all live, may want to chime in as well. Chris, can we maybe separate out two things? Big picture here, I do want to assure folks there is no, as I understand it, no particular goal, intention, plan for this land that is motivating this. I just want to be really clear about this. There is a state law that mandates that all charter cities, which San Jose is one, must align our zoning with the general plan land use designations, as I understand it. Now, Chris will confirm that. There's a difference between what we are mandated to do citywide on all the parcels in the city versus areas where perhaps we need further discussion and inspection of what that underlying general plan land use designation is. There may be something we've missed. But Chris, can you just first explain to folks why we're even doing this? There's no particular plan for the creek here, as I understand it.
That's correct. Thank you, Mayor. Chris Burton, Director of Planning, Building, Code Enforcement. So the city obviously has a general plan, right, and designates land uses for future development throughout the city. Now, the state...
Or non-development in the case of open space.
Indeed.
Okay.
The state passed SB 1333 that required charter cities to ensure that their zoning and general plan designations aligned, right? And this was intended to help promote housing development in areas where housing development is allowed by the general plan. This is certainly not one of those. By missing a step, it avoids a step. In the past, as a city, we've historically not had that alignment. This series of parcels is proximate to a creek, and so the line, the open space line that passes through these backyards is roughly in line with the 100-foot riparian setback that we would anticipate and would dictate development throughout this area regardless. It's my understanding that the open space designation has been in place even prior to this general plan. It was designated under the prior 2020 general plan. So it's always been, it's been for a considerable amount of time, open space on the general plan land use map. We're now just bringing the zoning into alignment.
Okay, so, and I'm going to turn to Councilor Mulcahy in a second here, but to me, understood, and we're not going to have a debate here, but this is a moment for the council to deliberate and figure out how we move forward here. So this is something we are mandated to do across all the parcels in the entire city. There is no particular plan for the creek here, and in fact, I think it's pretty clear as open space, we do not want development. Nobody's advocating to put a bunch of housing right on the creek. In fact, we have a setback for a reason. However, Chris, my concern, based on what I'm hearing from constituents, is if this 100-foot riparian setback that is a best practice that we've adopted as a council policy, as I understand it, if you draw the line against homes that were historically built right up against a riparian corridor, we do need to understand the implications of that. If that line's running through somebody's home, that is potentially problematic. And if that home were to ever be damaged in an earthquake, what would the implications of that be? I don't know that I personally know what all of those follow-on effects would be. So I don't know if you want to react to that. Go ahead.
Absolutely. So the homes that are there are not impacted by this. Really, when we're looking at the general plan and zoning, we're looking at the sort of future redevelopment or development of a site. And at that point, we would look to general plan consistency if we were rezoning at that point or now. Any modifications to the existing structure that's there, they would be allowed if there was a catastrophic event that resulted in the loss of the home. You would have the opportunity to rebuild it.
And if someone wanted to remodel their kitchen or, I don't know, add a second story, things that people typically do, add an ADU, things homeowners typically do and other property owners do in other parts of the city, would this now be more restrictive than prior to us taking a vote here?
No, they're still able to remodel their home. They're still allowed to do ADUs. So those are all still available.
Okay. So let me turn to, we're going to continue our discussion here, as is our process. We can also ask questions of our city attorney or other city staff. Councilor Mulcahy, do you have any comments or questions?
So, so our office has been in touch with dozens of people who have reached out. In some cases, we've talked to them directly, and in some cases, we've referred them to Chris's team, who has been answering those questions on an ongoing basis. The one place we didn't get any questions from was in some of these unique areas that do sit on the creeks, and Creek Drive is certainly one, and and Glen Erie is unique on both sides, both on the kind of the Willow Glen side and the Glenside Riviera, which is on the other side of the creek. So you just gave some examples of where this doesn't impact current ownership, remodel, catastrophic event. Many of these homes have underlying land value with coverage that doesn't necessarily maximize the land under ownership. If they were to sell for land value, let's say, and a new home was to be built, does this impact that?
So I'm just trying to think about that for a second. As far as land value, in theory, I mean, there's a lot that goes into that conversation, so I wouldn't want to necessarily speculate on the impact to land value. The lot is able to be used in its current configuration. If somebody was looking to do more intense development or a project that was triggering significant review, then we would look at all of the items that we've noted. So the general plan, the underlying general plan, which would already restrict that development opportunity. So that impediment is already in place. The riparian corridor policy that's also sort of baked into the CEQA process, as well as the zoning. So, they can currently build to the R1 standards on that site, but any development that would sort of go beyond that would run into challenges, but even regardless of this process.
So I know that we've done other districts dating back a period of time, right? Up to now, you've done some other districts. Have we experienced other homes that sit along creeks that have similar issues with the riparian setback that then, sort of comes into, as Mrs. Kakuza described, for example, right into her bedroom? Have we seen this before in this addressing of this SB 1333 so far?
We have, yes. We've had a number of instances, especially as it relates to open space. I think some on the creek, I'd have to go back and look at the records. There was one that was adjacent to Hillside as well that had a similar issue.
Okay. It feels like we're going to, we have some concerns and some open-ended answers here that I think might require a little bit more certainty for the property owners. And I'm wondering if the maker of the motion would consider, so that we're not tabling all of the...
I think you're going to get to make the motion, I believe, or was it made?
I think the motion was made by Vice Mayor Foley, right?
I think I did.
Oh, you did? Okay, I apologize. I missed
That's
it.
okay.
Go ahead.
So, and I think Councilmember Kamei was the second, so that we could have perhaps further discussion and provide more background and examples of how this is applied and where some of the protections may come from with existing ownership. If you would consider setting aside Glen Erie and Creek Drive for further consideration and work with the neighbors from the package that's being approved today.
Well, I'm open to consider it, council member, but what do you hope to accomplish? When do you want to bring those pieces back? Because this is part of what is required as state law and as a charter city. So anytime I'm asked for a delay, I always want to know what's the next step. How will it come back and why?
So Chris, question for you. If we were to set these two aside, what would be the opportunity we give 2 weeks for conversation. It may not change the outcome, but then bringing it back, is it 60, 90 days window to bring that back? Just on those isolated streets that we're talking about?
So there's a little bit more that goes into this process for us as we're looking at rezoning sites across the city. Because of a different state law, SB 330, we have to balance upzonings and downzonings that relate to residential development. So there's we just have to kind of think about if there are challenges related to pulling out these properties specifically as to how it impacts that calculation on the balance of these. I think, and I just want to be clear, like we're happy to provide additional clarifications and information. Ultimately, changing the zoning when it comes to redevelopment of the site, really just allows for consistency and clarity in that process. Anything that requires a discretionary review will be required to look at general plan consistency, and these properties already have a general plan designation of open space across these backyards. So, we can happily sort of have the conversation, but to sort of provide additional information on kind of what processes are in place to protect those property owners' rights as it stands with their property. It won't fundamentally change anything on how they can develop those properties in the future without future council action on changes to the general plan.
So I will say this in response to your question for a friendly amendment. We have delayed this action one other time for another series of properties. I think they were in District 5 potentially. And the reason we delayed it then was because there were a lot of questions from the community about the implications on property values and what they could do with their property. So it's clear to me that we're not being clear in how we're communicating with our residents. I understand that this is state law, and I've been up here long enough to know that what we're doing seems routine, but it doesn't seem routine to the property owners. So, council member, in response to your request, I would prefer that we just delay the whole item instead of just pulling out these properties, and that we delay it for, and Chris, is there a time certain that you need to bring this back? What's the urgency on bringing it back?
So there's not necessarily a time certainty. If we delay this, we will have to renotice it. I do just want to point out, so it's a rezoning, so there are 2 readings on this. So we do have the time between the first reading and the second reading to do additional conversations. It doesn't, it's not fully approved today. It takes both those council readings. So we can look at, the time between now and that second reading and potentially delay that to take, more action and provide more outreach and communication.
So when is the next reading?
Typically, we do a 2-week turnaround on these, but I do believe we can defer the second reading.
Okay, so in that case, going to change my opinion completely. Then I'm going to keep the motion on the floor and modify it, and that is that it come back for the second reading at the end of May. That gives you time to meet with the community, and Chris gives you time to reevaluate and assess, and it gives the community time to have a conversation. So while we may approve it today, that's just the first reading. It takes 2 readings to move, approvals to move forward, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
So that's a no sooner than, is what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, is that okay with the seconder?
Can I ask a question?
Of course.
Chris, when you mention the second reading, usually it comes back on consent, is that correct?
That's correct.
Yeah, and then there are only, it was my understanding that on general plan amendments, we only get a certain number to do throughout the year. There's only 4, is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, so this is like number 2?
So
is this the second time?
This is actually just the rezoning at this point, so this is not part of the general plan actions.
Okay, thank you very much, and that's fine with me.
Okay, and Councilor Mulcahy, you had the floor.
Thanks. So I want to make sure that those of you who were here speaking on this hang around for a few minutes. Somebody from my staff is coming down. We'll get your information to make sure that we make the connection. And maybe, Mayor, you could sort of wrap up before we go here and just reiterate what we just decided.
Sure.
Well, essentially,
My
there's
understanding-
2 readings.
Yeah.
The first reading we're going to approve today, and that it's going to give us time between now and the second reading, which is May, to affirm or change what we've decided here today based on conversations we may have after this meeting today. Okay?
Okay.
All right.
That
Thank
sounds
you.
right, and that is the revised motion okay with the seconder. Councilmember Ortiz.
Thank you, Mayor. Appreciate Councilmember Mulcahy advocating for his constituents. I also want to thank the constituents who are here. As the Vice Mayor mentioned, similar situation in my district, and we were able to delay it, but eventually the zoning did change. I wanted to ask Chris if you could just elaborate a little bit for us. Okay, so we're doing this to comply with the state, to make sure that our zoning matches what the state is doing. However, in the future, does this handcuff property owners? For example, I know we did this for schools in my district, right? Alum Rock School District, that was their #1 concern. Now that they're closing down 6 schools, they may want to do something on their property, right? And so that may require zoning changes. Are property owners, after this is done, are they still able to apply for zoning changes or, if needed, designation changes?
Yeah, so obviously people can apply to change their underlying land use. I think the critical aspect here is the general plan, right? So we already have an approved general plan with land use designations. So in the instance of a school, right, it already has that public, quasi-public designation. In this location, it's already open space. So this is just aligning that zoning layer with the underlying general plan. So anybody that's looking to redevelop with something that's different to their existing general plan designation would have to come in and apply for a change to that. They absolutely can do that. There's a process for it. And that would get processed through the regular process and brought to council.
There's a process, but would that, I mean, essentially as they're applying for it and it would come to the council, would that mean like PBCE would say this goes against the usage of the property and we would advocate against this zoning change? Would that be the situation? Just to be up, I mean, up and up
It
front.
depends, right? So we look at the complete document when we think about the general plan. We're trying to balance all the various objectives for the future development of the city. You know, that ensures that we've got adequate space for all the types of uses, that we've got adequate densities for the right types of residential, that we can continue to grow as a city, and that provides the other protections that we're looking for throughout our community. I mean, those are the sort of major considerations that we'll take into account as we look at any individual privately initiated general plan amendment.
And I heard some of the constituents speaking. They said that half of their properties are now going to be rezoned. How does that work? I mean, if half their properties already have housing built on them or something like that, how does it get rezoned to open space? I just don't understand that.
Yeah, so it's a split designation, and the reason that we have that designation in that place is because we have a policy around development around creeks. It's called our riparian corridor policy. And that says that we look at the top of bank and where we heavily restrict development within 100 feet of the top of bank. And so when you look at the general plan designation, it's following that creek. And it has that sort of buffer either side. So we're following that line essentially.
And so has it always been this case for no building near creeks, or is that something we're adopting from the state's lead?
No, that's been in place. I'd have to go back and look at when we adopted it. It's been in place for more than 20 years.
Okay, but I could sympathize with a homeowner who thought they get this large plot, they could do everything with their plot of land, and then they find out that there's city regulations as there is for a lot of things. So thank you, Chris.
Yeah, I think those are good questions and good points, and we have run into this issue, and I think at the end of the day, ultimately, most of these decisions are within the power of the council, to Councilmember Ortiz's point, whether it's how we construct, we have to be consistent, we have to be fair, we have to think about unintended consequences, but ultimately this council is empowered to ultimately change these regulations. Many of them have been added in recent years. So it's a difficult thing to grapple with. I think the point here, we're going to move to a vote, is at least ensuring that there's proper engagement with the community and people understand what's happening and why, and it's helping to create a feedback loop for us to make sure our policies are as good as they can be. So I think the opportunity here to engage is a good thing. All right, we have a motion on the floor. This is on land use consent item 10.1A. Tony, let's vote.
Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. Okay, great. And if folks want to dialogue, you can also step out into the hallway. Okay, let's continue on. We're on to item 3.1, report of the city manager.
Thank you, Mayor. I have no report today.
Okay, thank you, Jennifer. On to item 3.3. This is the declaration recording a statement of results of the April 8th, 2025 special primary municipal election. A motion.
Second.
Okay, motion by Councilor Kamei, second by Vice Mayor. Do we have public comment?
No.
Let's come back to the council then. Let's
sorry.
vote.
Sorry, let me start it again. Go ahead.
Okay,
Motion
great.
passes unanimously.
Thank you. We're on to item 3.4, Spring Intergovernmental Relations Report. We do have a staff presentation. And our consultants from Crew Strategies and Holland & Knight are here as well. We'll give them all a moment to come down.
Good afternoon, Honorable Mayor, council members, and members of the public. My name is Sarah Sarate. I'm the director of the City Manager's Office of Administration, Policy, and Intergovernmental Relations. I'm joined today by the Intergovernmental Relations team, which I'll refer to as IGR, including Zane Barnes, Chief Intergovernmental Relations Officer, Steve Stamos and Nicholas Ochoa that are in the audience, and our lobbying partners, Stephanie Estrada and Nick Romo from Cruise Strategies, and Leslie Polner from Holland & Knight. Intergovernmental relations is a team sport. It requires a lot of people across the organization to help support the work. So although they're not sitting in the box today, I just want to say thank you to everyone in the departments, as well as Ryan Coonerty and Mackenzie Mosing in the Mayor's office for strengthening our work. Intergovernmental relations for our team is focused and guided by the City Council approved legislative priorities that were last approved by the City Council in January of 2025. With there being so much volume and activity at the regional, state, and federal levels, these priorities help keep us focused to drive results in these 5 areas for our community. The spring report covers IGR activities from December 7th through April 7th. Since December, in partnership with internal and external teams, we continued to advocate for $5.5 million in federal earmarks that unfortunately did not move forward due to the passage of a year-long continuing resolution in March. More information on the federal budget process will be provided by Leslie. The new state and federal legislative sessions commenced in December, and the team is currently monitoring over 238 bills, the vast majority at the state level. Accordingly, we've already issued over 30 legislative and funding advocacy letters advancing the city's priorities and will continue to do so through the sessions. During this period, the Intergovernmental Relations team also conducted 3 legislative advocacy trips to Sacramento to meet with the city's state delegation and other offices to share the city's interests, in addition to other trips that were focused on specific legislation. I'll now turn it over to Zane and Leslie to provide additional context around our state and federal activities.
We'll start by providing a brief overview of recent developments at the federal and state levels, including a quick review of some key legislation introduced so far in the new legislative sessions, an update on our advocacy efforts, and a discussion on federal immigration developments. The bills we'll discuss today are only a snapshot. A more extensive list of city positions can be found in the federal and state legislative logs, which are attachments A and B to the memo. I'll just now pass to Leslie.
Thanks, Zane. So as Sarah mentioned, President Trump signed the continuing resolution on March 15th, extending current spending levels through the rest of FY25 through September 30th. And this action unfortunately eliminated all pending federal earmarks, including the city's $5.5 million for 5 requests in the Transportation and Housing Appropriations Bill. We are resubmitting several of these requests for FY 2026. Budget reconciliation is currently under consideration in the House and Senate, and as we speak, the House has started to mark up their portions of the reconciliation measure, and this will include raising the debt ceiling. The budget framework will also include an extension of the tax cuts, increased funding for immigration and customs enforcement, and potential cuts to Medicaid, among other noteworthy items. President Trump's FY 2026 budget is actually expected, the skinny budget is expected out later this week or early next week. His more robust, fulsome budget will be released in mid-May, and unfortunately, we are expecting to see significant cuts to HUD and HHS programs, among others. For the federal 2026 budget memo, we submitted, for the 2026 federal budget, we submitted earmark requests to Senators Padilla and Schiff and Representatives Liccardo, Lofgren, Khanna, and Panetta. And I'll note that attachment C to the memo only includes the submissions to the senators, and Congressman Panetta, as the House Appropriations Committee, did not release the FY 2026 earmark guidance until early April after the posting of the memo, and several congressional offices waited to accept requests. On federal advocacy, we engaged the city's delegation and federal agencies on securing already awarded grant funding. We also continued engagement on the BART to Silicon Valley Phase 2 project to reach full funding grant agreement by early 2026. We advocated for resources for 2026 major events, including $625 million for all 11 U.S. FIFA World Cup host regions, and I will note that that funding is included in the House Homeland Security measure that's part of reconciliation. On municipal bonds, in February, the city issued a letter urging the tax-exempt status of municipal bonds to be continued. We've been joined by a robust coalition of local governments on this issue, and so this has been front and center in Washington, D.C. We've provided some input on the city's surface transportation reauthorization funding priorities, which we're going to be submitting to the House T&I Committee this week. And lastly, we've continued advocacy on the Affordable Connectivity Program, increased funding for rental assistance programs, enforcement of quiet zones, and the reauthorization of the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act. As you probably know, President Trump has issued several executive orders on immigration since January, which we've been closely tracking. As Congress negotiates budget reconciliation, Republican priorities, of course, include increased resources dedicated to immigration and border security. In late March, a memorandum of understanding was executed between HUD and DHS to encourage cooperation and data sharing to identify undocumented immigrants, and additionally, IRS and DHS have agreed to share information to assist immigration authorities in locating individuals targeted for deportation. There are continued efforts by the Trump administration to withhold federal funds from jurisdictions that do not cooperate with ICE, and I'm sure you saw that there were 2 additional executive orders issued on Monday. However, on April 24th, a preliminary injunction was issued on an executive order barring the withholding of funds from sanctuary cities. We continue to hold meetings with our federal delegation on the city's preparation and response. Zane.
Governor Newsom released the proposed 2025-2026 budget on January 10th, which included a projected surplus of $363 million. As expected, it did not include funding for the Homeless Housing Assistance and Prevention Program known as HAP in Round 7. However, since the release of the budget, there are new cost pressures from the wildfires in Los Angeles, and we're responding to federal actions, thereby erasing any surplus. The governor's revised budget is anticipated to be released in early May, and IGR will be distributing a letter in advance of this release outlining the city's priorities. During this period, IGR engaged with several funding advocacy efforts. In partnership with the Civil Prosecutors Coalition, we advocated for additional funding for potential legal challenges associated with executive orders. We partnered with VTA to advocate for SB1 funding to support the BART Silicon Valley Phase 2 project, which is still pending. And we continue to advocate for San Jose specific funding to support community activations for the major sporting events being held in 2026. Additionally, we have initiated discussions with the city's transportation department on funding priorities for the reauthorization of the state cap and trade program. And finally, for the FY 2026 state budget, we submitted state member requests for consideration to the city's delegation. However, given the budget climate, we do not anticipate significant funding, if any, to go to member requests. On the legislative advocacy front, we've advocated for the inclusion of more flexible options in the housing bond legislation, actively engaged in the development of the downtown revitalization legislative package, and are actively opposing proposed changes to the Quimby Act, which would reduce land dedication and fees that support park development. Additionally, we continued engagement in discussions on the regional transportation measure in partnership with VTA, which are anticipated to finish this summer. On regulatory advocacy, we partnered with the city's card rooms against new proposed regulations from the Bureau of Gambling Control. And lastly, we held multiple advocacy trips to Sacramento over the past few months to meet with the city's state delegation and other state offices on a variety of issues. The city is sponsoring 2 bills this legislative session. The first, AB 476, authored by Assemblymember Gonzalez, would expand the information that junk dealers and metal recyclers must collect before purchasing copper and prohibit the possession of additional types of scrap metal from public infrastructure. There's a long list of supporters, including the League of California Cities and cities and counties across the state. The second bill, SB 753 by Senator Cortese, would allow local governments to return abandoned shopping carts directly to retailers, pick up carts immediately, and return them to retailers without a 3-day notice requirement, and recover the actual costs of managing the program. These bills have upcoming hearings in the next few weeks, and the city will be providing support to ensure they are successful. Beyond sponsored legislation, the Intergovernmental Relations team has engaged in wide-ranging advocacy efforts, which we have organized into 2 tiers to demonstrate the level of effort involved. In the second tier are areas with considerable effort anticipated. To highlight just a few is the ongoing and sustainable funding for homelessness, including advocating for HAP Round 7, BART funding and advocacy in partnership with VTA, a special focus on 2026 major sporting events, funding priorities for the reauthorization of the state cap and trade program, immigration-specific legislation to protect residents from potential federal action, as well as CEQA reform bills. In the third tier are areas where we actively monitor and activate engagement when opportunities arise. These areas include the Builders Remedy Cleanup legislation, Proposition 4 climate bond implementation, and funding to support the city's soft story retrofit ordinance. This concludes our presentation. We're asking the City Council to accept the spring IGR report and reaffirm city positions in the federal and state legislative logs. Thank you, and we're available for any questions.
Great. Thank you all for the report. Tony, do we have public comment?
Not for this item.
Okay, great. Well, then just coming back to the council, I want to thank Sarah, Zane, Leslie, Stephanie, the advocacy team that we have here on behalf of our city. There's probably rarely been, maybe never been, a more complicated, difficult, or important time to be really well organized and effective in our advocacy in our state and federal capitals. So I'm grateful to you all for the work that you do. I know you guys are working literally 7 days a week to try to track what's going on and keep us informed and make sure that we're advocating for our residents in the best interests of the city. Want to just appreciate the IGR team and our consultants, as well as members of my team, including Ryan Coonerty and Mackenzie Mossing, that have worked really closely to help San Jose play a leading role in priorities close to home, such as reducing blight, reducing encampments, getting greater help to our most vulnerable neighbors, and improving public safety. And as I think was mentioned, Senator Cortese's bill related to shopping carts, where we have about 2,000 carts a year stolen and ending up in our parks and waterways. Assemblymember Gonzalez's AB 476 focused on copper theft, something that affects all of our districts. I know Councilmember Candelas is in particular. It's been a real thorn in his side and those of his constituents. And then we've been working with Senator Blakesborough on SB 569, focused on a better partnership with Caltrans, particularly related to management of dangerous encampments along our freeways. I'm a sponsor on all of those bills, and we'll work closely to help push them through in the coming weeks. Unfortunately, our progress on getting all levels of government to step up and address the crisis of homelessness in our state has been a bit less successful. I was really disappointed to see Senator Blakespeare's SB 16 gutted prior to getting a hearing. It would have required counties to use some of their HAP dollars to share in the cost of interim housing that cities in California build, where San Jose has been arguably the leading city in the state for creating safe alternatives for those on our streets. Our team's working closely with Senator Blakespeare on the amended bill, which would at a minimum require the state to actually do the math, to have a plan to end unsheltered homelessness and show us some realistic mathematical models like the one our housing department has for what it would take to get to functional zero. Also proud to be working with Senator Becker on a similar bill that would require counties and cities to come up with joint plans that put real numbers behind their plans to achieve functional zero and sheltered homelessness. At the federal level, the chaotic cuts to grants and programs, this council is very concerned about, as well as uncertainties for our companies, community members, and higher ed institutions, is taking a real toll. And already that uncertainty is doing lasting damage. Our voters nationally clearly expressed their frustration with the status quo at the ballot box, but that doesn't mean that they voted for chaos or cruelty. So we've got to continue to advocate for our values and stand up for our community. I have a few questions for our consultants here today, and Stephanie, maybe I'll start with you if I might. I'm curious what you're hearing about the May revise from the governor. I've heard that from legislative leadership that the budget situation is not great, and there will be some pretty difficult trade-offs that need to be made. It's better than expected, but still in a position where there may be some tough choices ahead. And I was just wondering if you could give us a sense of where revenue trend lines may be heading and what you're hearing.
Thank you so much, Mayor. I'm going to also tag team this with Nick Romo from our team, who is from the League of California Cities and our expert on the budget issues.
That would be great. Thanks for being here.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you for the question. There's an adage in Sacramento is when the stock market gets a cold, the state budget gets a flu. And that's really one of the driving pieces here. We have federal actions that are really driving down long-term projections on the state budget, which makes it really difficult for any governing body to make long-term commitments. And so that's what we're seeing here. I think the governor is preaching caution. His Department of Finance is starting to preach caution when it comes to long-term commitments to spending. And we'll see the May revise likely around May 9th or May 10th. So it's a couple weeks away. You'll start to see signals about what it means for the short term, but also we know we're going to have kind of a couple years of really difficult decisions to make.
Okay. And do we have any sense right now of what is most at risk in the state budget?
Could you repeat the question?
Do we have any sense right now as to what is most at risk in the state budget?
Yeah, I think, in the January budget, the governor did not include, as Zane mentioned, did not include new funding for HHAB, $1 billion of funding. Also, legislators are asking for $2 billion for transit programs and to help our large transit system stay afloat. Those things did not make it into the initial January budget, I think are really at risk of having kind of full funding eligibility going forward. So that piece, plus funding around social services, so healthcare that is above and beyond what is the federal mandate is certainly at risk, particularly as Leslie mentioned, the federal government has some uncertainty about the level of funding for the baseline Medicaid cost.
Okay, thank you. And then on 2026, obviously we have a great opportunity, but it comes with costs to provide security and wayfinding and all those things that we need to do as we host these global events. And I don't remember, it might have been Zane who was mentioning the good news around potential money, but can you share a little more about how much of that is likely, if any, to flow to cities to cover our costs? And if there's any difference between advocacy we should be doing at the federal versus the state level for 2026.
Yeah, I'll take the state part and then maybe you can take the federal part. On the state level, you know, the LA and the Bay Area Host Committee have a joint ask before the legislature for $100 million. We've started the advocacy that there should be citywide allocations made to this ask, and we're continuing those conversations. We'll actually be in Sacramento tomorrow to have much more pointed conversations on 2026 state budget ask around these major events, and I'll just pass to Leslie on the federal side.
So actually today, the Homeland Security marked up their portion of reconciliation. And while most other committees have been charged with finding cuts, Homeland Security actually has the luxury of actually getting to add some funding in. And so one of the things that they have added as a line item is $625 million for the host committees. So plus $1 billion actually for the LA Olympics as well. So for 2028. So that money, you know, is likely to stay at this point. We have not heard huge objections, so it's exciting news.
Okay, and you think it'll be at the discretion, that is exciting, it'll be at the discretion of the host committee to disperse that. You're not anticipating direct allocations to larger cities for security costs?
No, not at this time.
Okay, sounds good. And then finally, I saw it referenced in a slide, but on Prop 36, when I met with the Senate Pro Tem a couple of weeks ago, he said they still did not have an update, that the legislature plans to fully implement Prop 36. I think California voters made clear that we want to fix our criminal justice system that doesn't work well for offenders or the broader community. And so I'm curious what we're hearing from Sacramento about how we will stop this revolving door for repeat offenders and instead get people into treatment with accountability. Do we have any updates on that front?
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, you're correct that, you know, the measure did pass with an overwhelming support from Californians, and now the state does have an obligation to support implementation. There are a couple of bills that do aim to do that, in particular SB 38 and SB 28 by Senator Umberg, which I know that you're supportive of, and you've had the opportunity to meet with Senator Umberg earlier this year. In fact, Senator Umberg did, and other legislators recently requested $250 million annually through the budget process. Of course, there are some mixed feelings in the administration and legislature about where funding request falls among legislative budget requests, but we'll definitely learn more post the May revise. I think we mentioned May 9th, May 10th around that time, so we'll have a substantial update after then.
Okay, and do we know in his proposal how much of that would go to treatment capacity? It's okay if we don't.
Yeah. The overwhelming majority of it will go to treatment capacity, and then there's of course the administrative costs.
Yeah, we got to keep those administrative costs down, but I'm glad to hear it will mostly go to treatment if it's included. Okay, let me turn to colleagues. Councilmember Cohen.
Thank you, and of course, thanks as always for the great work the team's doing. As the mayor mentioned, this seems like this is a more important but crazier time than ever. There's pressures from all sides. Obviously, the state budget and issues around the fires in LA and other things are causing a squeeze there, and the federal government, no need. I'm going to try to be not my normal pessimistic self today and talk too much about that, although I have a few questions about some of the specifics. So just a few questions about a few specific bills. Have we been looking at SB 84 related to ADA compliance and?
Thanks for the question, Councilmember. We have been looking at SB 84, and it's on our updated monitor list of legislation. This one is one that we're sort of watching as there is some negotiations that are ongoing between the two sides. And so we haven't taken a position yet as they work out some of their negotiations.
Okay, this might be a bill to help support our small businesses on this issue, so something for us to keep an eye on. There's a bill, AB 222 from Bauer Khan, related to data centers and monitoring of electricity and energy use. There was a long discussion at the League last week about that bill, and I know there's concerns about the proliferation of data centers and what that means for our power grid and the ability to, how it affects consumers and others and the availability of energy. I just want to know from our analysis, I don't know if we've done an analysis of that bill and whether it has an effect on what we're trying to do in San Jose as far as data center development.
Councilmember, we are actively monitoring AB 222, and we're not sure of the local impact, and so we're doing a little bit more analysis with the author's office, but we'll continue to engage energy and IT on this one moving forward.
I'm hopeful that the bill is meant more just as an informational gathering instrument for the state and to understand what's happening to our energy grid as a result of the proliferation of data centers, but just want to make sure that it doesn't get in our way at all. The League did take a position of supporting the bill after a lot of discussion, but I did make sure it was clear that data centers are not completely evil, and in fact data centers in California may be better than data centers elsewhere, which is what would happen if we don't build them here. But I appreciate that we continue to monitor that. I noticed a mention in the, first of all, I want to thank you for this great booklet here. It's a really, really nice summary of everything that we stand for in the city and what we're looking at. I saw municipal bond limits in here. Is there any current movement, do you think, in the federal government there was that little threat of taking away tax-exempt status. Is that something that's realistic?
I think given Republicans' need to find pay-fors for this tax cut bill that they're trying to work on right now through reconciliation, I think we have to take it as a very serious threat. It was on an early list of pay-fors for the bill. The House Ways and Means Committee will be marking up May 12th through 13th, and so shortly before they'll do that markup, we'll finally see the text. I will just say that there has been a complete mobilization on this issue. Not just by local governments, but you name the local government or local government adjacent organization or entity, and they're lobbying on this as their #1 priority. So I think folks are hearing it. I think the biggest challenge is just going to be this need to pay for this bill and kind of what kind of pain they're willing to subject themselves to.
Yeah, there's obviously a lot of the Republican constituencies and areas also use municipal bonds heavily, so I hope that they'll treat them as they should. And one last question on the slide on the well, first of all, on that there was a slide on the continuing resolution, and I just caution people because I keep hearing a lot of optimism, folks from people who say, and I heard it last week, the good news is the continuing resolution kept funding at its current level, therefore we don't have anything to worry about till October when the new fiscal year starts. Of course, the continuing resolution is not the actual allocation, is not the actual rewarding of money, and since the executive branch seems to not care what Congress has said, I hope that we're all here, at least locally, understanding that the continuing resolution didn't keep us out of the woods. But on that, there was the bullet point right under it that mentioned the removal of, or the loss of the funding for some of these things. Was that specifically in the that particular type of funding? What was the action in the continuing resolution that specifically affected that grant?
So those were our community project funding or earmark requests. And because Congress went forward with a continuing resolution, all of the earmarks, this was not a San Jose specific issue, right. All of the earmarks get wiped out of that bill because there isn't additional funding to pay for it. And so those were all taken out, and that's why now we are resubmitting for FY26.
I see, okay. Thank you so much. I'll move acceptance of the IGR report.
Great, thank you. Let's go to Councilmember Condellis.
No, thank you, Sarah, Zane, and staff, Leslie, for your report. You know, I think the work of IGR is critical in advocating for the residents, both at the state and federal level. So I commend you for that work. And, you know, the reality is we're already seeing the presidential administration in action. You know, whether it's, you know, our city dollars or our ability to fund projects, or statewide with Medi-Cal struggling to fund Medi-Cal, or the Medicaid safety net system that ultimately trickles down to counties. We, fortunately, don't, or unfortunately, depends on how you look at it, don't have to deal with that issue. We have another set of issues. But but something that we all have to grapple with is the human effect and that fear that the current administration's policies are having across everybody, all our communities. And so it's difficult. And, you know, to my colleague's question about, you know, what happens to those earmarks that we worked so hard on. I know I had a few conversations with Congressman Jimmy Panetta and his willingness to put money forward and put his political capital forward for that multi-million-dollar request towards the Yerba Buena pedestrian bridge. And while, you know, the request initially succeeded, it ultimately was eliminated. And so that is a setback, and you know, it's kind of like, you know, working and doing all this work just to, you know, get slapped down with something. And so I just, you know, want to make sure that, one, we keep pressing forward regardless of the setbacks, regardless of the sentiment. And you know, I don't necessarily have any questions on any particular bill. I do just want to reemphasize that for our need to act fast and to think creatively. You know, we have the legislative front, but additionally, I know we in the city are fighting it in the courts, and the judicial system is something that we have to also rely on, because it's going to take everybody to advocate and make sure that we're meeting the needs of everybody in our city. And so I was kind of the doom and gloom guy today, Councilmember Cohen, but, you know, alas, we got a couple more years to go of this. Thanks.
Appreciate everybody finding some optimism today. All right, let's go to Councilmember Campos.
Thank you, Mayor. And thank you to the team. I'm very grateful for the staff's work, for our lobbying team, who are working very diligently to monitor the changes, the state and federal actions that affect our city operations and our residents' quality of life. So thank you. I know how important this work is. It's critical, especially at a time like now, to ensure that our city receives the support that we need to achieve our very big, ambitious goals. And I want to make sure that we do achieve those goals. I also recognize that we have to brace ourselves and prepare for any negative impacts that may result from the changes that we're seeing and the federal actions that are being taken. So while our priorities are focused, I do want to ensure that we are not leaving our vulnerable communities behind. So I have a couple of questions. The legislative program includes robust language regarding supporting family-friendly workplaces and policies that promote childcare and early education. However, reviewing attachment B, I didn't find any of the noteworthy state bills focused on childcare, like AB 752. And so my question to staff is, if we could please get some clarity on whether the city is tracking childcare and ECE legislation, and if so, can you share which bills we've taken a position on?
Thank you very much, Councilmember. We are sort of still very early on in the legislative session, candidly, and so I know that we received a number of bills on childcare in particular, and currently staff is analyzing those bills and seeing if they're ones that we can take a support position on. So we're happy to provide you with an update after staff completes their analysis.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. I know that from our legislative program, we do call out, like I said, family-friendly workplaces, early education, resources for our foster youth, our disadvantaged communities, and there are many childcare-related legislation that would be instrumental in helping not just fill the gap that may be coming, but we are already in a child care crisis before the federal administration changed. So to be able to support our workforce development through opportunities to access early care and education, that is going to benefit our city now and in the future, because we are helping parents who are working now and need that support, but we're also creating a stronger foundation for our children who will become the workforce of tomorrow. So it's critical to our city's success that we really invest and support the policies that we know are going to drive current and future success for our city. I also wanted to ask about in the mayor's budget message, we gave policy direction to streamline environmental review that would make it easier to build housing. And I did notice that we are monitoring AB 609 and SB 607, which are two of the most significant CEQA streamlining bills introduced this session. I'd love to understand why we aren't supporting or and choosing to monitor instead.
Sure, Councilmember. Thanks for the question. We are, as you noted, monitoring AB 609 and SB 607. We understand these are the largest CEQA streamlining bills that will probably be heard this year. I think that the city staff has some concerns about how broad the language remains and wanted to get further clarification from the author's office. And so we're working on having a meeting just so we can get some clarification on both of these bills moving forward.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that. I know that we are committed to addressing our housing and homelessness epidemic, and reducing the barriers to developing housing is a key part of that strategy. So look forward to more information on that. And then the last question I have is related to our housing element. Program P11 requires the city to allow SB 9 type housing on additional properties, including historic resources. So we have AB 1061, quote unquote, SB 9 in historic districts. To facilitate and implement the city's housing element program obligations. Is the city planning to support this? Why or why not?
Thank you, Council Member, and thanks for bringing this bill to our attention. With so many pieces of legislation, it's sometimes challenging to keep up with all of them. AB 1061 is one that we will do an evaluation with staff on. That's not a problem, and we can get back to you about a potential support position or if we want to seek any amendments to the legislation.
Thank you so much. I appreciate your responses, and that was all of my questions. Thank you.
Thanks, Councilmember. Okay. A motion to accept the IGR report. Tony, let's vote.
Motion passes unanimously.
Wonderful. Thank you again. Appreciate everybody's good work. All right, we are on to item 3.5, proposed revisions to City Council Policy 1-16. This is our policy related to the issuance of multifamily housing revenue bonds. Do we have a motion? We do not have a presentation on this item. Actually, let me ask first about public comment. Tony, do we have public comment on item 3.5?
Sorry, we do not.
Okay, coming back to the council. Councilman Casey.
Just had a question in terms of the monitoring fee. Is that something that we're still imposing as co-administrator? Because the conduit fee issuer is going to have a monitoring fee as well. It just wasn't clear to me in the resolution.
Let me see if Eric Sullivan can come down, help answer that.
So Eric Solivan, Director of Housing. Thank you, Councilmember Casey, for the question. Monitoring fees will continue on. This doesn't impact monitoring fees of the work that the Housing Department does and the overall asset management. This is just related to issuance and not ongoing monitoring fees.
And then the co-administration, is there an agreement we'll have with the conduit issuer, a separate agreement outlining, I mean, for example, if they don't comply, any of the issues that may arise based on that association?
Yes,
okay.
so we have existing joint partnership agreements with CFLA and some of the other ones that do issuances now that says we have an administrative rider that goes on to their bond issuance to ensure ongoing compliance of the buildings. And so this will just continue that work.
And so it'll outline any conflict resolution, any issues we may have with them. Okay,
correct.
Great, thank you.
Great. Do we have a motion on this item?
Motion to accept?
Second.
Great. Okay, Tony, let's vote. There we go.
Motion passes unanimously.
Great, thank you. We are on to item 5.1. This is delegation of authority to award 9812 Better Bikeway San Jose San Fernando Corridor, a rebid of the project. Tony, do we have public comment?
Not for this item.
Okay, coming back to the council.
Move for approval.
Thank you. Councilmember Ortiz, second from Duan. Not seeing any further hands. Tony, let's vote.
Motion passes unanimously.
Great, thank you. We're on to item 5.2. This is a report on bids and award of contract for major streets ceiling projects. Do we have any public comment?
No, I don't.
Thank you. Coming back to the council.
Move approval. Second.
Great. Tony, let's vote.
Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. On to item 7.1. Adoption of a park master plan, approval of a turnkey parkland agreement, and the adoption of an official park name within the Zero Sealy Ave mixed use project. We have a staff presentation, and then we'll go to public comment.
Good afternoon, Mayor, Vice Mayor, council members, and members of the public. I am Rebecca Ross, supervising planner. Who needs to take a deep breath? With Parks, Recreation, and Neighborhood Services. And I'm excited to present today the proposed adoption of a park master plan, approval of a turnkey agreement, recordation of that agreement, and adoption of the official park name. And to my left is Assistant Director Andrea Flores-Shelton, and also part-time planner Mary Beth Bowman, who helped with the park naming. In the audience, I want to thank Sarah Sellers, who helped with the park master plan. I also want to thank the Hanover Company for the 3-year-long coordination effort to bring the proposal before you today. Scott Udall and Deanna Chafelan are in the audience and are available to respond to questions. And I also want to express my gratitude to the Hanover Company and Summerhill Homes Development for investing in our city and our community and working together to bring us a new park. Next slide. Thank you. The 2.5-acre park will be located along Sealy Avenue, approximately 500 feet northwest of Montague Expressway in North San Jose. The park is part of the Zero Sealy Avenue mixed-use project, which was approved by the council last August. And the overall development includes 1,472 residential units, 154 townhomes, And some of these units are deed-restricted affordable housing for moderate income and low-income families. The project also offers ground floor retail, a domestic water well, and the public park that we're discussing today. Next slide. When the new residential development comes into the city, they have to fulfill a parkland obligation, which helps mitigate the population growth on the city's park system. And under the Parkland Dedication Ordinance and the Parkland Impact Ordinance, this project has an obligation to dedicate to the city 10.7 acres of land, or pay an equivalent of $38.8 million in park fees. In this case, the developer is going to fulfill their obligation by dedicating a fully improved, designed and constructed 2.5 acre park, as well as pay almost $11.1 million in park fees in 2 installments later on. Next slide. Each individual phase of the development is eligible to receive credits that lowers its parkland obligation. And in this case, this project did receive credits for providing amenities on site and the affordable housing. And the total dollar value applied for those credits is about $7.7 million. Next slide. And, when each phase of the development comes in for building permits, city staff is going to review each phase to make sure that they're going to meet the obligation by contributing a fair share to build and provide the park. And once the park has been designed and paid for, that's when the remaining fees will come in. And the agreement that you're considering today considers those turnkey agreements in that phase. And it could happen, the phases could happen in the order that you see before you, or they could happen separately, and the agreement is set up so that each phase can independently meet its obligation. Next slide. The park is part of a much larger site, much more important site, and it was the home to the Sakawa family and the family farm. The Sakawa family farmed this site for almost 2 generations, beginning in around 1907, when Yuichi Sakawa purchased the land. And Edward Ichi Sakawa grew up on the land. It was one of the family members who worked on the farm, produced fruit and vegetables and other crops that supported the growing community of San Jose. The Sakawa family farmed this land and contributed significantly to the agricultural history of Santa Clara Valley. And the Sakawa family, along with 120,000 Japanese Americans, many of them citizens, were forcibly removed from their homes and incarcerated into internment camps in Heart Mountain, Wyoming, due to a 1942 executive order that was issued during World War II. During the Sakawa's family internment, Edward Seeley, a neighboring farmer, protected the farm from vandalism and seizure. And this act of solidarity allowed these families, allowed the Sakawa family the ability to reclaim their land and their livelihood after they returned from incarceration. After they returned, Ichi Edward Sakawa resumed farming and became an active community leader in San Jose. He served on the Santa Clara Unified School District Board of Education and other civic bodies. He was the president of the Japanese American Citizen League and participated in the California Pioneers and Santa Clara Pear Association. He played a key role in founding the Japanese American Museum of San Jose, and Vanessa from the Japanese American Museum is in the audience and available for questions. Ichi Edward Sakawa wrote Heart Mountain, a memoir of the Japanese American incarceration, and he also authored Japanese American History, an A to Z from 1868 to the present, which remains a key resource in Japanese history today. Next slide. Staff originally suggested the park be named Sakawa Family Park and presented that name to the Parks and Rec Commission during the June 5th, 2024 meeting. And during that meeting, members of the Sakawa family, the Preservation Action Council of San Jose, and other community members asked that the name be named after Ichi Edward Sakawa specifically. And staff does not have any concerns and supports the request to name the park after Mr. Sakawa. Naming this park after Mr. Sakawa not only honors his personal contributions, but also acknowledges the resilience of an entire community. This would be the first time a public park in San Jose is named after an individual Japanese American, making it an important symbol of our city's commitment to diversity, remembrance, and justice. The proposed names meets our City Council Policy 7.7-5 in that it reflects the name of a historically and culturally significant individual who made significant contributions to San Jose. As of today, we did receive letters of support from the Sakawa family in recognition of this naming. Next slide. During the same June 5th Parks and Rec Commission, members of the public and the Preservation Action Council of San Jose asked to have the existing Sakawa house be preserved on the site and incorporated into the park master plan. And after much discussion that happened after that meeting, it was decided that the house would be a better fit to be moved to History Park in San Jose. History Park already houses migrant worker cabins that Mr. Sakawa helped facilitate to move to History Park. So to move the house to History Park will better preserve the historic resource and help complete an exhibition that's already on site. And members and history, Bill Schroe from History San Jose is in the audience, available for questions, and members of IC Preservation Action Council are also in the audience today. Next slide. So the Park Master Plan was later adapted after the Parks and Rec Commission to include historic design elements that would help tell the story of the Sakawa family and Edward Ichi Sakawa. It also includes a historic plaza where we're going to have interpretation signs, a children's playground that's themed to be like a farm, a dog park for large dogs, small dogs, pollinator garden, 2 pickleball courts, pedestrian paths, and an outdoor fitness area. So we know where the location of the elements that are going to tell the history of the site are going to be and what those types of elements are, but we don't have the content yet. And we do look forward to working with our stakeholders, including the Japanese American Museum, PACSJ, and History San Jose, to be able to make sure that the content of those features appropriately tell the story. Next slide. And with that, staff recommends that the council approve a master plan for a 2.5-acre park, approve a turnkey parkland agreement, direct the city clerk to record the agreement, and adopt the Edward Ichi Sakawa Park as the official park name. And this concludes staff report.
Great, thank you. This is exciting. Tony, do we have public comment?
Yes, I have 5 cards. If you weren't here earlier, I'll repeat the speech. I'm going to call all 5 names. The first person who's able to come down to the microphone begins. You don't have to speak in the order you're called. And we have reserved signs on the front row, so if you hear your name, come on down and take a seat in the front row. I have Vanessa Hadakayama, Mike Sodergren, Ben Leach, Sally Zarnovitz, and Deanna, looks like Chofont. Come on down. You have 2 minutes.
Afternoon. Thank you, Council, Mayor. My name is Ben Leach. I'm the Executive Director of Preservation Action Council. First, the easy stuff. We are strongly in support of the proposed name. We think it's appropriate. We are also in support of a memo from Councilmember Kamei, who I hope will speak to it. And the reason we're in support of that is we really need to emphasize that this is not a finished product. This park plan that you're approving categorically excludes the house. And we know that that's the consensus and that's the direction for a while. But once that house does not land in the park, it needs to go someplace else. And the plan to get it to History Park is well-intentioned. I'm proud to be in a coalition of history of History San Jose, the Japanese American Museum to work together to make that happen, but it's not going to happen without a lot more work. And I just want to make sure that as we talk about this park, we remember that we missed an opportunity to do something really special here. That this wasn't commemorating a place that was gone. It still existed up until a few months ago. So in a very real sense, this park is demolishing this historic place. And we're going to do our best to salvage how to tell that story. And I think the historic plaza can do that, but there's a lot of work that the park now has to do to commemorate a place that was very, very special. And we are a little bit disappointed that after, since August of last year, where we were promised a robust public discussion about what that would look like, the plan for the park has not substantially changed since then. So we appreciate being, part of that conversation, but we would really like to see a more.
Thank you. Next speaker.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council members. Vanessa Takayama from the Japanese American Museum of San Jose. There are two important items I'd like to flag regarding the Park Master Plan memo. First, in the section referencing the interpretive elements of the park, the memo does omit PAC-SJ as one of the organizations to be consulted. And this, I want to address this oversight as PAC-SJ has been an essential and steadfast partner in the coalition from the beginning, and their inclusion is critical to honoring the full depth of San Jose's cultural and historic fabric. Second, the Park Master Plan assumes the absence of the historic Sakawa farmhouse, as Ben mentioned. But that absence, again, as he mentioned, is not a certainty. The funds needed to relocate the house, which is $750,000 to $1 million, has not yet been fully raised. And to date, this responsibility has fallen entirely on History San Jose, JAMS, and PAC-SJ without any direct financial support from the city. This relocation was an important contingency item on the park plan moving forward, and that contingency remains unresolved and unaddressed. The Sakawa House and the historical interpretation of the park are more than just a structure or a playground. They are vessels and spaces of memories and powerful educational tools. The story of Eiichi Sakawa and his family speaks to the agricultural contributions of Japanese Americans that shaped this valley, and the injustices of the World War II mass incarceration of US citizens of Japanese descent, of which one I'm a descendant, and the rare but vital cross-racial allyship that helped preserve the Sakawa land, as we saw with Ed Seeley. These are lessons we cannot afford to lose, especially now as today's immigrant and diaspora communities face renewed challenges and hostilities. The relocation of the Sakawa farmhouse will benefit districts throughout all of San Jose, and it has already united our three organizations in common purpose. But to make this vision real, we need more than symbolic approval. We need meaningful partnership.
Thank you. Am I starting? I'm Sally Zarnowitz. I'm speaking as a board member of Preservation Action Council. Sorry, today. We are taking it in good faith through the development process that a historic consultant has been hired, has done the HABs report on the buildings that have been demolished and on the site, and that a consultant has been hired to do a meaningful exhibit that would be on the site. And we are especially hoping that this exhibit will be on site, which is what we believe the Parks Commission was looking for, that it would be in the park is what I mean by that, not on an apartment building. So that it could, really reference this history. And we're proud to be part, again, of a coalition, so with Japanese American Museum of San Jose, with History San Jose, working on the relocation of the house. I think it's important to see that there is a broad coalition of people that are interested in the location of the park, of the exhibit in the park, and also the relocation of the house, so that the history can continue there as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next speaker.
Mike Sodergren, Preservation Action Council. At this point, this house is sitting on box cribbing in an orchard that is no more. And our experience with the Pallison House move, which is sitting on which sat on box cribbing like this, is that it was attempted to be burnt 3 times. So we want to provide some encouragement to the developer and to the city that we remain vigilant for this asset that we're all investing time and energy in to make sure that it's not lost during the time in the interim. Despite our respect for the hardworking people at PRS, we are grateful that the name has been retained, but we find the Parkland plan to be underwhelming. It does not, in our opinion, give to the Japanese American community what they deserve in terms of commemoration. The plan itself, as we understand it, at the 35% level, is effectively frozen in terms of form and function and content when you sign off on this today, meaning that a dog park that is larger in space than the commemoration area Avicii is going to be something that cannot change. The size of the dog park cannot change. The amount of information that can be included about commemorating Aichi cannot change after 35%. This is what I've been told. If I'm wrong, I'd like to be corrected. But it is my concern that as we go into this, and I think when we look back at August of last year, it was a very emotional moment where everybody came together and said, the most important thing that we do is recognize this man and his story, and that we not repeat that story again. And if a 35% number in a plan says that we cannot do anything more than doing that.
Thank you, that's your time. Next speaker.
Good afternoon, Mayor Mahan and council members. I wanted to just take a quick moment to introduce myself. I'm Deanna Chalfant, and I joined the Hanover team just earlier this year. I have a long 19-year plus career in the multifamily development world, and I'm thrilled to continue my work overseeing new and needed housing in this region. My initial task with Hanover was to work with the city staff on the Zero Sealy Ave Parkland Dedication Agreement and subsequent park drawings. I am pleased to be here today knowing that this agreement is in its complete form and ready for approval. I want to thank Rebecca Ross and her team for their tireless efforts on the project. I'm confident in saying that all of us are excited to deliver to the residents of North San Jose a well-designed, well-activated, and family-friendly park. Lastly, I want to publicly state that Hanover, along with Carolyn Sakawa, Jane Sakawa May, the former owners of the property where the park will be located, are in full support of the staff's recommendation for Aichi Edward Sakawa Park as a park's official name. This name reflects a historical Japanese American individual that not only resided here in the city of San Jose, but also made great contributions to it. Let's allow Aichi Edward Sakawa's legacy to live on through an amazing park situated on his once thriving farmland. Thank you.
Back to council.
Great. Thank you to staff for the plan and to all of our public commenters. We'll come back to colleagues and we'll go to Councilmember Kamei first.
Thank you so much. And as many of you recall from the last time we were here, this is extremely meaningful for the community, especially the Japanese American community. And I thank all of the speakers today. I actually would like to thank the developers for working with us and working with Councilmember Cohen's office on trying to resolve the issue. But I want to say something very clearly. This is not just about the farmhouse. This is not just about the farmhouse. This is greater in terms of keeping and preserving the history and the legacy of our community. I did write a memo, and I was asked to clarify 1B, which talks about facilitating the acquisition of funding. And I've always been as collaborative as I can with staff in any department. I depend on staff to provide timely information with accuracy and transparency. So, given that, there have been some circumstances where that has not been the case, I am extremely disappointed. Every fall, every council works with our Parks Capital Project on different projects. And this came up as a possibility when I learned that Open Space Authority had about $1.2 million in one of their two grant programs, which is specifically for cities. Now, they have their 20% funding set aside from the Open Space Capital Fund, and then they have another one called Urban Grant Program. Whether or not this would have applied, maybe we don't meet all of the criteria, I learned that there was this 1.2. In March of this year, every council member got a notice, as well as everyone else, that there is $230,000,20 in this account. This is something that has been accumulating over time. So I've been trying to get information, clear information, as to whether or not we can apply for grant funding to have this house moved. Well, as it turns out, staff has decided, through an unknown list of parks project, which I have asked for and did not get, yet when the mayor's office staff asks for it, they get it in a few minutes. I don't think that's right. I really don't. Why is it that we cannot get information from staff? I believe that if something is not proper, then tell me. If we cannot qualify, tell me. I've been working on this since August and spoke to Capitol staff in about October-ish, October, November-ish. I don't know exact date, but in the fall. I could have been alerted. Oh, we have a list of projects. I've yet to receive a response on the list of projects, yet the mayor's office is able to get it in a few seconds. How is that? I'm okay with knowing the information, but it's not okay to ghost me. In addition, when I say facilitate, I mean work together. I don't mean avoid me. I don't mean, just ghost me, not respond. That is not okay. There's $1.3 million there. And it is my understanding from Open Space, because I've met with them twice, that projects in the past that were submitted were not thought to be worthy. When we spoke to them, and I know that Bill has spoken to them as well, we were led to believe that, hey, there might be something here possible. We don't have next year to reapply. We only have till November. But I'm trying to create a time frame where I'm only thinking about, okay, we ought to get everything done by September. That way, they can go about their business and doing their planning for their project and all of that. But I do not expect staff to be an impediment to trying to move something forward. So I was told, well, there is a council priority list. I've been here almost 2.5 years. I have never seen that list. It has never come to me. And the last project that was authorized by, this is Open Space Authority money, they have to approve it, was in 2019. And the project that was put forward previously from Raul Perales was rejected. So I just think that we're trying to do this together. We want the housing, we want the park, we want to be able to move forward. But not like this. Not like this. I have been nothing but cooperative with everyone. But I do not think it's right to be able to be steamrollered. That's what I feel. I feel like steamroller. You know what? This has been done to other communities. It is not okay. And that's why I have put facilitate the acquisition. Please work with me. We may not be eligible. They might say, oh, it's not a project that we can do, but for goodness sakes, give it a chance. This is a legacy, a historical legacy that is not gonna come back. We already decided, okay, we can't do it on the property for whatever reason, we're gonna move it over. Help me move it over. That is all I'm asking. And if you need more clarity of what I mean with my memo, please let me know. If there's something that's not clear here, I will let you know exactly what it is. Please help me. And with that, I'm gonna move my memo.
Okay, thank you, Councilor. We have a motion and a second. We also have a hand up from Councilor Cohen. First, though, I don't know if the administration would like to respond. Is there anything that was just
Angel or John, would you like to respond?
I'd be happy to. Thank you. John Cicerelli, Director of Parks, Recreation, Neighborhood Services. First of all, you're referring to a list that we have of priorities for this grant that you're referring to from the Open Space Authority. It is not a council office generated priority list. This is a small amount of money for Parks and Recreation. $1.2 million builds you a playground and a little more. It's not a lot of money. We have a lot of projects with needs. You and I have spoke personally where I've shared with you at least 3 of the projects on that list. Elia's Playground, which we submitted, it was accepted, but we did not pursue it because we decided we had a better priority, and that's Meadow Fair, which was the next one on the list that I told you about, where we recently acquired some land and we want to expand the park there, and it fits better with the Open Space Authority grant. And after that, it was Overfelt, where we have a whole lot of issues, including a lot of historic, Chinese historic, cultural facilities that are falling apart that we've been working with Councilmember Ortiz to try to get money for, and we were looking at this grant for some of that money. Those 2 projects alone are way more than $1.2 million. There's 3 more on that list, though, because in case they don't approve of this project or that project. None of them include this house, though. It was never a consideration. We were never given direction to do that. So I just want to be clear how we got here. We're not trying to obfuscate the issue. We're not trying to make it difficult for you, but we are trying to make it clear that there are priorities within the department. Now, if the City Council wants to rearrange those priorities, that's fine, but these parks have great needs. This is a new project that had no funding, so new funding has to be found versus taking some from Peter to pay Paul. That's the issue that I think we're struggling with. Thank you.
John, your recollection of our conversation is very, very different, because you said to me you didn't even know there was money from Open Space Authority. So that's my recollection.
That's not what I said.
That's not my recollection.
When you found out about the money, I let you know it was only about 6 months ago I even knew about that money. So I knew about it before you did. I didn't find out about it when you did. That's just the clarification.
Angel, can you help with some ideas here related to, obviously, you know, there's money that, what's the gap that needs to be found, and what other opportunities are there? Because I do want staff to help with this, and I think, you know, you've been trying to help recently when I assigned you this project, but can you help clarify where we're at with some of the ideas?
Sure. Angel Rios, Deputy City Manager. So we definitely take the concerns that the council member has raised very seriously, right? And so just over the last week, we've had a number of conversations with both the council member and her staff, really in the spirit of trying to explore ways to make this happen, right? Because we understand the vision behind preserving the historical legacy of the Sakawa house, and we're in line with that. The issue we're trying to reconcile is the issue that John just raised, right? Is how do you reconcile all these competing interests with limited funds, right? That's the big challenge that we're trying to solve for. You know, some of the things that we have brainstormed more recently is possibly the use of construction and conveyance funds, right? Which would, of course, then have an adverse impact. Like, so say, for example, if we were to tap into the council member's CNC funds, she has 2 projects kind of lined up, that would delay or halt those projects kind of going forward, right? So that would, again, it becomes an issue of choice. The other thing is because this would have a citywide impact, you know, one can argue, well, you know, Council District 1 shouldn't bear the whole burden of the entire cost. You know, could we look into tapping into CNC funds across the city council, right? So to the extent that we could find 2 or 3 of you who who would be willing to use some of your own CNC money to assist with this. You know, there are ways to address this and use our citywide CNC kind of protocols to make that happen. So that's something that we continue to explore. Up until now, that has not been fruitful. The other thing is I've also reached out to the Open Space Authority and spoken to Andrea and to her other key staff there. And, you know, there is the urban land grant, you know, pot of money, right? According to their website, an RFP is supposed to be released this month. Those grants are smaller in nature, ranging anywhere from $10,000 to $200,000. I think that's one that we should still continue to explore with the Open Space Authority. And so I would highly recommend that we continue down that path. And then, of course, we haven't really tapped into the philanthropy community, right, and other historical preservation options. And so I really think, you know, when you look at the blue memo that's presented, I think in order for A to happen, you got to secure B, right? And the only thing I would request or recommend is that we add a little looser language to say facilitate and explore the acquisition of funding, because what we can't do at this point is guarantee that we're going to be able to, by the timeline, come up with the up to $1 million to make this happen, right? Because past history, we typically work with other organizations to secure this type of a move. But I want to be very clear, we are definitely in support of the council members' vision and idea to make this happen. The struggle right now is how do we reconcile competing interests, and we just simply need the time to work with the council office and other partners to secure this funding, which as of right now, only about $430,000 of that is secured.
Okay, thank you, Angel. Jennifer, anything else from you or staff on this? We've got a few other hands up.
Yeah, and I mean, I just want to reiterate to the council member that, you know, staff will be committed to helping you and work with you, as we've been, I think they've been trying to, as of late, to try to find some different funding sources and facilitate conversations. Obviously, doing the actual fundraising itself isn't usually in staff's wheelhouse by themselves, and so partnering and brainstorming with you, because I think we all agree about the historical significance and the importance of this house to the city as a whole. So just want to let you know that we will continue to brainstorm and work on that. I'd come up with a couple of ideas, and they didn't pan out, but that doesn't mean that there might be more ideas.
Okay, and to be clear, we've looked, I think you were saying this, Angel, and I missed it, but we've looked at kind of district-specific CNC funds or other things that council members may choose to work with staff to prioritize.
Yeah, we have done that, yes.
Okay.
We have had that cleared, just to be clear, because by the attorney's office, we did do that homework as well, and they said that was a okay use, but that doesn't seem to be a fruitful idea at this juncture.
Okay. Let me turn to Councilor Kamei. You had the floor. I don't know if you were done.
You know, I appreciate the attempts that have been made, but you know what? I don't think it's right for everybody to, sort of like pitch in from their CNC money. I don't understand, and maybe there's something that you can educate me on the historical significance of why this little bit of money only staff can prioritize, right? That is not something that I even knew until right this minute, that it was something that council did not have anything to do with, right? Which is okay. I don't need an answer. It's okay. But to me, it just seems that if you, even 6 months before, as you say, didn't know this even existed, I think that you could have been a lot more transparent in letting me know and letting Bill know that it was not even a chance that we would have the ability to move on this.
Okay, let me turn to, thank you, Councilor. Let me turn to Councilor Cohn.
Thank you. As this is a District 4 project, I want to have a moment to recenter the conversation a little bit. I appreciate the input, that move forward, but obviously want to have a chance to thank the developer. First of all, thank Scott and Deanna for the work you've been doing to get this project moving. This project is more than this park. This project is, I forget, 1,300, 1,400 housing units. Moving forward, you know, we hear so much across the state about housing not being possible, about the difficulty in getting housing done. Housing it's moving forward, and housing is going to get built there, and that's number one. And I'm excited about the fact that North San Jose is continuing to be our future growth in housing. Having said that, North San Jose is also an under-resourced area as far as public amenities. It's the largest area of the city without a library, the largest area of the city without a community center. It's the largest. It has fewer parks per resident than almost any other part of the city. We've been waiting for resources over the years to build out Agnew's Park. There's a huge amount of land that the city owns, 30 acres, with the idea that someday there'll be a park there. But we need at least $30 million to build that park, and we're waiting for $15 million to even tear down the old hospital building before we can start that work. Working with, you know, we're in conversation with the state and our legislators to try to find that funding, but that's a promise that the residents have had for a long time that is very frustrating for them and for me and for, I think, all of us in the city. Last year when we had the conversation about reducing the park fees in order to facilitate these construction projects and get this moving forward, and was happy to support that, although maybe happy is too strong of a word, because the result of that is that $11 million that's coming in, which will be held for Agnew's, and unfortunately, as it was pointed out, it won't even come in until at least 2029. So if we're going to use it to start some work at Agnew's, we're still talking at least 5 or 6 years out before we can even begin using that money. That money would have been over $20 million if we hadn't made the concession we made to try to move the housing forward by cutting the park fees that we were expecting to be able to pay for much of Agnew's Park by this development and other developments that are coming. It's going to be harder to cobble that money together. So I just want to sort of point out a lot of the things that are happening, a lot of the dynamics in North San Jose. In the meantime, the area needs a park, and by the way, it's also the largest area in the city without a dog park. There is no dog park in North San Jose or Alviso anywhere. I think the closest one might be all the way in the East Foothills at Berryessa, or obviously something downtown. I don't know what the closest dog park is to that area. These are amenities that North San Jose deserves like other parts of the city. So I'm excited that we're moving forward with the park plan, and I'm looking forward to seeing it happen. I would ask questions now. Maybe I will ask one question. What is the timeline expectation of when the park is built, and what kind of requirements are there as far as when the park must be built?
The agreement includes a condition that the park has to be fully provided to the city within 5 years after the issuance of the first building permit. So we're anticipating that building permits are going to be released soon, and so that we should have a park within 5 years.
5 years until the park, and I hope that'll happen. We know from past that we've had a lot of issues with some timelines of parks, but I'm hoping, and I'm optimistic, I feel we have good partners here to make sure this is going to happen. I made a proposal, and last summer when we were starting, or I forget exactly when it was now, I think it was August, or when we first had this conversation about this park, I made the proposal for us to relocate the house and begin the work to find a way to relocate the house to History Park, feeling that was the best way we could compromise on the space needed for the community to have a park and an ability to preserve the history and combine with, as was pointed out, shown on this slide, and I'm not sure how clear it was, there's already an exhibit at History Park for Sakawa family and their farmhouse and their migrant home, structures that were used on that site. And so combining this house with that will provide an even better full historical record of Sakawa family. As of course, the importance of naming this park, the Sakawa Park, has been something that I think I've supported from the beginning, and is very important for that community. I was at the Sakawa farmhouse shop the last day it was open. They had a party with the residents, a lot of people from the area who came, and they had live music and celebration, and it was a loss for the community, obviously, to lose that place. It was still an operating farm. It was still selling produce to the community, and people were sad to see it go. We were all sad to see it go. Of course, the family was ready to move on from that, and this housing development is important for our community. There's a lot of elements here going into getting us to this point. when I made the proposal to move the park last year, there was a lot of pushback about trying to find a way to keep it on site. And I do regret the fact that I think we lost several months of productive time in terms of getting the plan moving for getting this house to History Park by spending more time evaluating the choice between keeping it on site or not, rather than moving forward, with what I think was the best solution at the time. I want to, I don't know, Bill, I don't want to put you on the spot. I know that it was offered by our staff here that you were here to answer questions, so I will certainly let you have a choice. But I do want to ask a little bit about the fundraising progress and the work you're doing. And, you know, I remember last fall when we talked about being able to have a year's runway to get this house, the fundraising done so we could have the move happen by this fall. There was a lot of optimism that that could be achieved. And so I just wanted to find out how that's moving forward.
Hello, Council. Bill Schroe, History San Jose. David, so the problem occurred when we had our meeting last year. I had heard from the Open Space Authority that there possibly was $400,000 available to move the house on top of the money that I was able to raise as well, the $430,000. So I started investigating how I could apply for that money. The runaround the city gave me was disgraceful. At first, I was told that I needed to go through BN's office. BN was fully supportive of it, ready to roll. Then I was like, no, I need to go through the city manager's office. Then I met with Angel, who said, no, I need to go to the parks. So I set up a meeting with Parks that canceled the meeting at the last minute, and then I got an email from the Open Space Authority that said, how come you're not on the list? So when I reached out to them after the Open Space Authority contacted me, they were like, you were never allowed to apply for that grant. So 5 months went by when I was trying to run around the city, trying to find if I could apply. If I couldn't apply, that's totally fine. Then I could find other sources. But unfortunately, Vanessa and I were ready to launch our campaign, but I wanted to know if that $400,000 was part of the campaign.
Okay, I appreciate that. Can you remind me, so obviously the cost of the move of this house is about...
It's roughly $700,000, but I reached out to Garden City Construction. They said between 7 and 8 because, costs have gone up since that time. So somewhere between $700,000 and $800,000 to move the house to History Park.
And then there's a budget that's anticipated after it's moved to History Park to renovate and make sure and get the house back up so that it can be open to the public.
Correct. That's another $500,000 to $600,000.
Okay. So presumably, obviously, regardless of other sources of grant funding, there's going to need to be a total of $1.2 to $1.4 million raised, of which maybe somewhere a few hundred can come from the Open Space Authority or not, but we're going to need to continue to do fundraising.
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you for the answer. All right, anyway, I want to ask Councilmember Kamei for a friendly amendment to the motion, and I think that Angel's language suggestion to sort of make it more open so that the city will explore ways to find grant money and other funding, and just changing number 2 to reflect Angel's language. Is that an acceptable friendly amendment?
Yeah, he had it the word explore, and I'm okay with that. I guess my experience has not been good, and all I'm asking for is clarity and cooperation and collaboration. That's all I ask for.
Okay,
because yes, adding the word explore is fine.
Yeah, Councilmember, can I just, and I just want to acknowledge that, as we talked about, I think there's an opportunity to really improve communications. I do want to clarify and add some context to something that Bill mentioned, because, the implication that people were given the runaround is about half right. The problem is that typically identification of a list for these type of programs, because the money is so small and the need is so high, is that the conversations are usually between OSA and the Parks Recreation Department. And that's typically where those start. And there's a list of criteria that we have our priority list. And then that list is kind of vetted OSA goes back, talks to their board, and then once we kind of have a good sense, then we run this, we also, check this list off with our respective council members, and ultimately we come back to the mayor and council with the list of those recommendations. The fact that there was conversations happening kind of between OSA and a third party was really outside the bounds of the way we typically work.
Yeah,
so
I understand. I'm not interested in relitigating
the
process going past.
I just feel it's important to clarify because, I think we work really hard to do good public administration. And so when I referred History San Jose back to PRNS, that's referring him back to the process, right? But back on point, council member, I just want to say, one, I think from a communication standpoint, as a department and all, we could do better, and I think we have to do better, and we will do better. And we are definitely committed to exploring and trying to find a resolution, because the vision behind this is a great one, and I hope that doesn't get lost in this conversation.
Yes, and I appreciate that. And there's no guarantee that the grant would have been awarded anyway. We need to make sure we have multiple avenues and multiple paths being pursued in parallel, because, as I said, we're going to need to raise well over $1 million from multiple sources in order to make this a success. But thank you for the input. I certainly appreciate everything the staff has done at this point. And by the way, just to add to this discussion a little bit, this is all in the context of a conversation we just had probably earlier this month, I can't even keep track of time, about the parks, the funding for parks, the need for a bond, and the backlog that we have. And how every one of us is frustrated in all of our districts about the work that we want done in our local parks in terms of maintenance and upkeep, and how some districts have a lot of the CNC money. I mean, District 3 is lucky enough to have had a lot of that to build new parks, and we're all trying to piece together just what we need to do. And at projects like I talked about, certainly if Agnes Park were in downtown, there would have been the resources now to have built it out. So we're going to need to be, I think we need to be on the same page as a council in order to make sure that all of the residents across our city have access to the parks they deserve. And with that, I will wrap it up, but thank you so much for bringing this forward.
Thanks, Councilmember. We still have a couple of hands up. Let's go to Councilmember Salas.
For the record, Councilman Cohen, apparently we have a lot of money in our CNCs, which is terrific. We also have about the worst maintenance in any other district, so just for the record. But that's not why I wanted to speak. I'm still trying to get straight on the timelines and the deadline. Bill, if you don't mind, I'm just very curious whether or not, let's say you had the grant, how long would it take you to raise? I believe I heard you say 800,000, because that would get the house there at least, and then it could reside there until you raise the other 400 or 500. Is that correct? Yeah. So what is the shortest amount of time, or no, what is a realistic amount of time for you to raise the differential between how much that grant could have been and?
I mean, technically I have till November to have the house moved. So
that's all? Okay, till November. So that's not very long.
No.
Okay, so that also leads me to something even more important, I think, and I had this experience with the mayor and with Councilmember Mulcahy. Before I got on council here, I thought the city had a reputation that a lot of our properties would just get burned down while they were in storage, and I heard someone mention that, and when we were walking past the Milligan building a month or two ago, and I said, you know what? If somebody's not watching that, it's going to get burned down, and it got burned down. So my question is, who is responsible for it right now? Is there some oversight, or is this a moot point anyway, and it's just going to get burned down?
Yeah. Can we ask Scott to talk about security on the site? I think that would be a better.
Yeah, I was just going to say Hanover would be the one to discuss that.
Scott, if you don't mind coming down real quick, answer that question. Thank you.
Good afternoon, council members. Scott Udall with the Hanover Company. So the current situation with the house right now is that it is, as mentioned by one of the speakers, it has been temporarily relocated from its former location within the property. It is sitting up on cribbing, ready to be moved and picked up to be moved to History Park. The roof has been removed in preparation for the relocation to History Park. The site is sitting within the entire 22 acres is a construction site surrounded by fencing. Within that, we have a secure lot. Within that secure lot, we have a, the house is secured by an additional level of fencing to make sure there's no construction operations occur far away from it. So that is the current status.
Terrific. That sounds a lot better than what I saw at the Milligan building. Thank you very much.
Sure, no problem.
All right, great. Thank you, Councilmember. Vice Mayor?
Thank you. Thank you for the presentation about the park and for the concerns from the advocates about what the education component will be, preserving the history of the Sakawa family and their contribution to San Jose. So I think the addition of the park in District 4 is really important. The housing from Hanover is fabulous. Thank you for that as well. But preserving that history is also really important. The commitment to relocate the house, that's a different issue that I'd just like to set aside for the moment and really focus on the education component within the park. It should be interactive, and I don't know how the advocates are feeling about it, but there's a lot of ways that you can make this a really good education opportunity for children to benefit from what that property was like and what it really means. Because today we forget, but we shouldn't forget. We should always remember about the internment and then the success of the Sakawa family. So can you reassure me and the community that we're going to seriously take into consideration the education component and make sure that we do preserve the history in some way?
I can. So, yes, it's already part of the design. Fun fact about me, I am a history buff. I literally pay a subscription to watch history lectures every month at my home. I understand this history. I understand the importance of this history, and that is our objective, is to honor that history in this park.
Okay. Thank you, John.
No.
Rebecca, did you want to say something? No. Okay. Good. That's actually my only concern. I just wanted to lift that issue up and make sure it was acknowledged. Thank you for your statement. I really appreciate it. With that, I'm finished. Thanks, Mayor.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Okay, we have a motion on the floor from Councilmember Kamei. Tony, let's vote.
Motion passes unanimously.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you all. We're on to item 8.1. So we will now recess the regular City Council meeting and convene the joint meeting of the City Council and the successor agency board to the redevelopment agency of the City of San Jose. That's a mouthful. To hear item 8.1, actions related to the Alameda Community Benefit Improvement District. We have a staff presentation.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council members. Blagi Zalalic, the Deputy Director in the Office of Economic Development and Cultural Affairs. And I'm here today with Jay Guevara, Deputy Director in Public Works, and Vic Farley and Sal Alvarez from our Small Business and Neighborhood Corridors team in OEDCA. These two are the two that have shepherded this process and this project thus far. I'd like to give a quick shout out to additional colleagues in Public Works and the City Attorney's Office for their work and support through this process. This work has been funded through the utilization of American Rescue Plan dollars received to mitigate the effects of the COVID-19 pandemic. To this end, we're working in 9 new business neighborhoods since 2021 to help the business community organize and move toward financial self-sufficiency. We're happy to bring forward today a significant step in the process of forming the first new property-based improvement district the city has seen in 15 years. I would like to acknowledge the hours of work by our outstanding consultants on the ground for the past 2 years, Catherine Pendleton and Annie Agahian, better known as Annie and Cat LLC. Without their tireless efforts, we would not have reached today's milestone. And with that, I'd like to turn over the presentation to Vic and Sal. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Mayor and City Council. I'm very pleased to report that as at last night, 38.75% of all property owners, weighted by the size of the parcel, had signed a petition in support of establishing the Community Benefit Improvement District. This exceeded the 30% threshold required of supportive petitions necessary to allow us to bring forward the recommendations contained in your agenda today. That's good news. Moving on, in terms of, to highlight the process, a community-based improvement district must follow the San Jose Municipal Code Law, which allows for the creation of a special assessment district to raise funds within a specific geographic area. This is essentially a two-step process for City Council. Step one today is the petition phase, with recommendations and resolutions, and assuming your approval today, we can then move to step two, known as the ballot phase, which will take place over the next 45 days to allow all property owners to vote yes or no to the formation of the CBID. Proposition 218 requires a ballot vote in which more than 50% of the ballots received and weighted by assessment must be in support of the district. Only ballots received by the city clerk by the date of the public hearing, scheduled for June 17th, can be counted. Please note that the city is a property owner in the district. The city did not participate in the petition before you today, but can vote in the ballot. The result of the ballot, the public hearing, and the resolution of formation can then be heard at City Council scheduled for June 17th. The timeline, here you can see on this slide, reveals the scale of work that has been undertaken in the past 2 years, led by our consultants on the ground, revitalizing the business association, engaging more broadly the business community, and building the support necessary with property owners to be here today. There is energy and purpose across the Alameda business community. I'd now like to hand over to Sal, who will take you through the assessment and detail and budget of the property-based improvement district.
Good afternoon. I'm Sal Alvarez. The Alameda Community Benefit Improvement District contains over 420 businesses and over 500 jobs. As you can see in the map, the geography of the district extends to all parcels fronting the Alameda from the junction with Shield Avenue on the west, that's the left side of the map, to Stockton Avenue on the east side of the map, which is to the east, which is the right side of the map, and anchored by Whole Foods, if you can get a mental picture. The Alameda is known as the Beautiful Way, has a fitness corridor with 18 exercise gyms, businesses, and many long-standing historic businesses such as J-Lore Winery, Greenleaf's Bakery, and more recently, restaurants like Luna Mexican Kitchen, Crema Coffee, and many more coming actually. There are 419 parcels of land. Each had to be measured and a consistent benefit methodology defined and applied to arrive at the assessment fee for every property owner. This is why we have two colors on the map to show the different zones for services. Zone 1 in green will receive 100% level of services, and Zone 2 in yellow will receive half of the level of services. Next slide. Yeah, thank you. This is the formula described in the Management District Plan, breaking out the cost of each parcel owner based on parcel size, parcel type, building size, benefit zone, and parcel linear frontage rate along the Alameda, Race Street, and Stockton Avenue. Please note that parcels zoned solely for residential purposes will have 0 assessment, and those commercial mixed-use residential parcels will be assessed at 75% of the rate. The revenue forecast contained in the first year of the management district plan is $327,977. Other funds to be included are forecasted to take the total income of the district to just over $340,000 annually. As noted earlier, the city has 3 parcels, and the successor agency has 1 parcel with the total assessment. The city would be assessed at $11,902. Not every property owner supports the establishment of the CBID. Some feel they pay more than enough taxes and believe the city should fully cover the cost of all services needed in the district. But on balance, the Business Association and a wide range of property owners and local businesses do support the establishment of the CBID, which is reflected in the number of petitions received to date in recognition that more than baseline services are needed to realize being the beautiful way. Next slide. There we go. Thank you. This is the first budget identifying the proposed allocation of funds, with 78% focused on clean and safe services and the balance for beautification, banners, signage, administration, and then also contingency reserve. The starting point is really getting to grips with the cleanup, security, and maintenance needed in the district currently. The district board will review and present an annual budget to the city council, analyzing current and planned expenditures, as well as a report of the previous year's budget. And I'll turn the final slide over to Vic. Thank you.
Thank you, Sal. Thank you, Sal. To conclude, here is the timeline for the formation of the district. The process is driven by the need to meet the county deadline for inclusion in the 25-26 property tax roll. The county assessor requires the roll to be submitted to his office by July 31st. The dates in the table on your screen are designed to ensure we meet the July 31st deadline. This is why we're here today, and this is why we have brought these recommendations and resolutions before City Council. Finally, I would like to take the opportunity to thank the staff in the Mayor's office for their support throughout, and to Councilmember Mulcahy for his expertise and leadership proactively reaching out to property owners. It makes a real difference. Thank you. This concludes our presentation.
Great. Thank you for the presentation and all of your work on this. Let's turn to public comment.
Yes, I have 2 speakers, Annie, it says Annie and Kat, and Scott Weber.
That sounds about right.
Hi, my name is Anya Gahian. I'm here today with Catherine Pendleton, and we are from Anya and Kat, as Blage mentioned. We are the contractors out on the Alameda, supporting the Business Association in getting a PBID and really leading the effort to form this CBID out there. So this has been a many years long process to get to this point, and I'm here today on behalf of ourselves, but also the board of the Alameda Business Association, many of whom are small business owners and are watching from their businesses on the Alameda but could not be here in person today. We are very, very excited to be at this point bringing forward a CBID, which is the first one the city has seen in 15 years since Willow Glen came about. And we really wanted to take this opportunity to show our appreciation to a few people, and I'm sure there are many more. But first to Sal Alvarez and Vic Farley from the Office of Economic Development. Thank you so much for both investing in this project and ensuring and entrusting us in succeeding in this. Thank you, as mentioned, to Councilmember Mulcahy. You have been a huge help through this process and also the willing recipient of our minute-by-minute update every time we received 0.01% on the petition. I also wanted to recognize Michael Lomeo from Mayor Mahan's office. He is absolutely fantastic and has also helped us tremendously. He's the other Michael helping us on this project. The CBID is really a once-in-a-decades opportunity to transform the Alameda and create a cleaner, safer, and more welcoming space. Being at this point with landowners committed to investing in their own shared success tells us that we are really on the right path out there. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and the council. I just wanted to come and say, as a resident of Plant 51 and also a member of the Homeowners Association, which is located on the Alameda, thank you. Thank you for considering this. Thank you for the benefits that you're bringing to the city. As somebody who moved here and looked and fell in love with the Alameda and fell in love with the city of San Jose, I saw nothing but potential. And seeing it actually actualized, Councilman Mulcahy, everybody, thank you so much for what you're doing there. And while I'm at it, you make a lot of tough decisions. I was at the Columbus Park discussion the other day. I know what you're doing on Guadalupe River Conservancy as I ride my bike through there on a regular basis and on foot. You make a lot of hard decisions. This one's an easy one. You are making a legacy for all of us that we can be proud of and we should be proud of. And if all the rest of our government worked like you guys are working together for the benefit of the citizens and for bringing dignified housing to others and improving the benefits, we would have a wonderful nation. Thank you.
Back to council.
Great. Thank you. And thank you to Ani and Kat for your work as well on this. Okay, coming back to the council, we're going to start with Councilmember Mulcahy.
Cool. Thank you, Mayor. And thanks to Blage and Vic and Sal and to Jay from Public Works. The staff support, I know, as they've echoed it, has been great and initiated in many cases by your offices, so thank you. I mean, these final weeks when you're putting this together can be super frantic, a little scary, right? But ultimately, when you can walk in with almost 40% of the vote, it makes the lift to get over the 50 seem reasonable. It's still going to be a little scary over the next number of days, but I know we're going to do it. Just want to note a few early outcomes that I think are important. You know, what this process does, it allows you to get to know all of the property and business owners. I think one of the things about the Alameda is the sort of disconnected way it has been. When you have a business association, but they have no money to spend, it's really difficult to build consensus and, you know, having people work on weekends because you got an event going on. There are some things happening, but this knowledge base now that the group has about where the owners are, who they are, you know, what are their interests is super powerful. Over 100 commercial property owners, over 300 condo owners. So that's a big lift. The other thing is, as you work to build that consensus, it actually informs the needs of the district, helps to prioritize how you're going to actually spend the money, right? Different ends of the street have different senses of what they want that money spent on. And so that's important. And now this district mixes a lot of you know, homeowners that are in this mix. In Willow Glen, that's not the case. Downtown, we have some of that, but in, you know, the Alameda, we'll have to balance that, the needs of the residences and the businesses. And then along the way, we solved some problems in the meantime. White Street, which most of you probably don't know even exists, opposite Whole Foods. So if you went left instead of right on Stockton, there's this sort of nothing street, which is, though, a really important passageway for Plant 51 residents. Well, nobody knew who owned it. The lights are bad, it's dirty. Scott was probably out there picking up garbage, but in the process, with a shout out to Councilmember Cohen, who helped kind of get Caltrain involved, we got VTA involved, who's going to go out and replace all the street lights. Who knew that they even had control of that property? So as a result of, you know, having to go through this investigation, we've solved what has been a very big problem for the folks at Plant 51, and now creates a safe, walkable environment, and we'll stay on that. So back in 2008, yeah, some of you were probably in high school or younger, I was the president of the Willow Glen Business Association. I collaborated with a consultant then, Marco Lamandri, from a company called New City America, which I don't know why we don't use him. One of the original architects of this model and the visionary behind Little Italy San Diego, which is widely recognized as one of the most successful benefit improvement districts in the nation. At that time, downtown had recently passed the P-bid based on a California state law enabling, it was an enabling law from '94. Marco and I used that as a template to develop San Jose's very own ordinance. We made key adjustments, including a less burdensome 30% petition, which is what we're doing today, and a more favorable 15-year term, unlike downtown, which is only 10 years. That extra 5 years really helps. I recently revisited some of those documents from that formation time, and this, I'll just read a little passage. This is what I sent out to the property owners right after the vote that we're actually taking today. On Tuesday, October 28th, 2008, the San Jose City Council voted unanimously to support the next step toward our goal of adopting a CBID in Willow Glen. As you know, many property and business owners have been working on this plan for well over 1 year, and this final ballot process marks the culmination of our collective efforts. Clearly, economic conditions are precarious, to say the least. But as you know, real estate is a long-term play. The CBID is a great way to enhance our property values, improve the neighborhood and community appeal, and stay competitive in a fiercely competitive consumer market. This economic downturn shall pass, and we need to be prepared for it. It feels like it's the same letter I could write today. So while the catalysts are different, 2008 had the subprime mortgage debacle versus today's inflation, trade tensions, policy shifts. Both periods were marked by high uncertainty, tighter financial conditions, elevated debt, and risks of contagion. The timing, as challenging as it is, however, could not be more appropriate. The decision by property owners to self-assess is significant and should not be underestimated. In difficult times, especially for real estate, retail, restaurants, and small businesses, we should acknowledge their courage and offer as much support necessary for their success. It's absolutely true that every successful business association, BID, CBID, PBID, requires some heroes. The real heroes are Kat and Annie. They've been shouted out already, but I think it goes without saying that the people on the ground make this happen. They've worked tirelessly for months, and they have a rising board of directors on the Alameda Business Association, led by President Doug Cookerly, along with officers Pat, Edward, David, Gabrielle, and the rest of the board. So when advising colleagues interested in forming a district, the guidance is clear. Identify your hero, or better yet, heroes, or it will not happen. I got involved with this CBID during the campaign, and throughout the first 100+ days, our office remains committed because of the tremendous potential for the Alameda, its property owners, businesses, and restaurants, and residents. This district already serves as a prominent bookend to the greater downtown, and building up its economic strength will prove invaluable. So with that, I'd like to move this item forward.
Great. Thank you, Councilmember, and thanks for jumping in with both feet as you joined the council and offering a lot of guidance and support for the efforts of Ani and Kat and city staff and all the property owners in this district. I think it's going to be a wonderful thing for this part of town and have a positive ripple effect far beyond. So really excited about this. I don't see any other hands, so Tony, let's vote.
Motion passes unanimously.
All right, congratulations, everybody. On to the next step. We will now adjourn the joint meeting of the City Council and the successor agency board to the redevelopment agency of the City of San Jose and resume the regular City Council meeting. That was our last agendized item, which means we're on to open forum, which is an opportunity for members of the public to speak on any city business that was not on today's agenda. Tony, do we have comment cards?
Yeah, I have Reka Kolick and Christopher West. I also have a card for 10.1. We already heard that item, but if that person for 10.1 wants to come down and talk to me at the end of the meeting, I'll let them know what happened.
Yeah. Okay, see a couple of folks coming down. Just a reminder, this is for city-related business that was not on today's agenda. Okay. And we'll go one at a time with 2 minutes each.
Hello again. My name is Rajka Cholic. I work for Alco Electric Incorporated in San Jose. We are one of your subcontractors on the San Jose Training Facility and Emergency Operations Center. And I'm here today because City of San Jose is holding $375,000 from us for over a year. I contacted Mayor's office, I contacted Public Works Director, I had a meeting with Ms. Mu Huimini, and unfortunately, nothing was resolved. Ms. Mu Huimini thinks because there is an issue with one of the subcontractors on the project, she has a full right to withhold the funds from everybody else. Please just take a note that we work for City of San Jose for the past 20 years. We did so many projects with you guys, and we never had any issues, never in the past. We had 8 libraries, I don't know how many fire stations, we even have today another fire station that we work on. But I really need to see, when I ask the question, when are we going to be paid? When the funds are going to be released? She didn't have any answer for us. We cannot wait forever. We are a small business, and we need this money, especially in this economy when everybody is hurting and nobody is having enough funds to fund the business and everything. It's very important to know when funds are going to be released to our company. Thank you.
Yeah, and if I might just refer you to our Assistant City Manager, Lee Wilcox, if he could maybe just grab your information so we make sure we follow up with you. Thank you for being here. Thanks in advance, Lee, I appreciate it. Okay, I know we had at least a couple of other members of the community who wanted to speak. Take our next speaker for 2 minutes.
Hello, my name is Christopher West, and I'm a resident at the Arena Hotel. It's been quite some time since I've had to come address you. Well, where do I begin? You know, the program was designed for like a 6-month stay. It wasn't designed for us to be there for a year. We've been labeled a participant, therefore that kind of makes sense. If you're there for 3 months and you can't seem to function, it makes sense that you should be out in 30 minutes. It's just unfortunate that we've been there for over a year now, and residents that have been there for over a year are now accumulating stuff and property and been told to leave in 30 minutes. I think that we need to relook at our label as not a participant, but as a resident, so that we can have tenancy rights, because it's sad to see residents who are kicked out in 30 minutes and they have all this property. Secondly, it was told to me that there was some people in city housing gave instruction to Home First and the other constituents that are in charge there to be hard on us. Being hard on us has caused us a lot of detriment. One of our residents passed away in his room, and we were asking for them to do a wellness check, and they denied that. They said, no, we won't do that. And if it wasn't for the inspector who came by, the inspector found the resident who had passed away in his room. There are many issues that we seem to have, and I only have 30 more seconds, but there are many issues that we have, and we need a platform to speak on. Our community meeting was a great platform to speak on, but we haven't had it since December. So that's why I'm here. Hopefully we can have a platform to address our concerns soon, because things are starting to get volatile there. So with that being said, thank you.
I think we have one more speaker, Tony.
I had one person who submitted for 10.1.
Okay. All right.
Good afternoon, council members, and a salute to my council member, Member Mulcahy. I have come before you many times before representing unhoused concerns. Today I represent myself and my home. Senate Bill 1333 primarily encompasses the area where I have lived since my stint as an unhoused woman living in her car. For many, it currently serves as a twilight zone, one through which homelessness, lawlessness, illicit drug use, vagrancy, and more goes unchecked. Well, prices have gone up for goods and services, and housing is high for those who can only afford to work and attend school there, not live there. And I'm talking about the same community. Make SB 1333 work for them, work for commerce, work for residents, work for us all. Thank you.
back to council.
All right, thank you all very much. We're adjourned. Enjoy your evenings.